Alrighty, let's get started. Just a little under a minute until the stream begins. Thank you, folks who are joining me early. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the viewership and support I can get. I got like 45 seconds of time to kill right now, but let me turn off the stream in the background. I don't need that playing. I just need the chat. I don't need a double stream. I can see the stream happening right before my eyes. Oh boy, this is going to be a great night, a great evening with all of my dear friends, you, the viewers. Just a little under, about 20 seconds left to go. All right, looks like we got a few people here. Definitely like what I see. Oh man, it would be so fucked up if I was just talking to nobody. Man, I would feel really, really fucking stupid. But I think you guys are real. I'm pretty sure you guys are real. Really hope you guys are real. Oh, okay, all right, we're about to begin. Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, and welcome to Dr. Wolfula After Dark, my late-night chat show where I talk about the latest happenings in the world of horror. Now, before we begin, I just want to let you guys know I will be having a live Q&A in the latter half of the... Actually, not even latter half. It's going to be mostly a live Q&A, but I always like to start these streams with a little bit of a warm-up talking about the latest things happening in the world of horror, a little more directly with a couple starter topics. So let's move on to horror news. Yes, horror news. Let's get started with the horror news. All right, first topic of the evening will be Resident Evil, the new Resident Evil film directed by Zach Cregger, also co-written by Zach Cregger, and co-written by some other guy. I kind of browsed the other co-writers' credits for this movie, and I think I don't know, I can't remember the specific credits, but it looked like he co-wrote some kind of bad movies, but I'm not going to judge, okay? Zach Cregger has been mostly pretty damn good. Barbarian I loved, Weapons I loved, Miss March, I didn't see that, but I'm sure it's just as terrifying. Rest in peace, Trevor Moore. I love Whitest Kids, you know. He's been pretty damn good. I do kind of wonder if this movie would have still happened, because Barbarian was kind of a sleeper hit. It did pretty well for what it was, and it got a lot of post-release buzz because of how crazy it turned out to be. But then Weapons was a gigantic hit, and he already, I think, started shooting Resident Evil before that. I kind of wonder if he would have done Resident Evil, because I feel like after Weapons, he could literally do whatever fucking movie he wants. It felt like with Resident Evil, it was, well, this is a big IP. All right, I mean, I'll give it my best shot, but let's watch the trailer. I honestly really like what I see in the trailer, so let's talk about some things that happen in the trailer. Let's get this started. Now, I do love the Austin Abrams' character. He's essentially a medical courier. He's delivering something from a hospital over to Umbrella, I believe in Raccoon City, and there's like some obvious inconsistencies. Zach Cregger has given like some mixed like, I guess, impressions about where this movie takes place within the greater Resident Evil canon, because we'll see later in this trailer there's some modern technology. Resident Evil 2, when this is, I guess, supposed to take place, that took place in 1998 during the summer, and as you can see, it's clearly winter time during the events of this movie. So I'm not totally sure if this can really fit in like Cregger has said. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But I do also love the bag that Austin Abrams' character carries. It reminds me of Rebecca Chambers, that little medical bag she carries. Now, I love this living room set that we see in here, where it reminds me of Norman Bates' office in the original Psycho. There's like some stuffed birds and shit. Like, it's already got like some kind of weird sense of character to it, where it's like the mansion in the original movie, where it has like this separate personality that's kind of weird and off-putting, besides the obvious mutants and creepy zombie bullshit that the movie will obviously introduce in this setting. I like what I see here. I always like a good set. I always like some good set design. Now, this is pretty much just... Yeah, this is... Yeah, I'm gonna skip through it. This is just like, yeah, I know he did weapons. I know he did barbarian. I know all that shit. Now, I will say though with the phone, this is like a phone with wires and shit. Like an actual home phone. Something I haven't seen in like 15 years, like maybe more than 15 years at this point. So this definitely feels 1998. We're going to see a different phone, though, that will contradict that. But at least initially, it seems like this could, totally believably take place in 1998, like, for sure.
Happened.
Now, I believe this movie was shot in, like, Eastern Europe. So, which is so fucking funny to me. Like, it definitely... I feel like, because there's also some tells you see later in the trailer, you see some cars that are only available in Eastern Europe, which is kind of a strange thing. It feels like it's definitely a cost-cutting thing for Constantine Films, because even though they got Cregger involved with this movie, who's like a big-name director, they still are like, yeah, we're gonna like shoot where it's gonna be the most affordable. So there's like some tells where it feels like they are kind of manipulating the environment to try to make it convincingly the United States.
Like, seriously.
But something I do like about this trailer is that it does depict the ramping up of a Resident Evil game, where you start out, this character starts out with a pistol, then eventually he finds the shotgun, and shit becomes real. But according to Cregger, there will be a limitation of ammo. Like, he won't be able to just, like, blast zombies or mutants or whatever. Apparently aren't really even going to be that many zombies in this movie, but he's not going to be able to, like, blast his opponents away, like, willy-nilly, like a lot of other zombie movies. He's gonna have to, like, I guess, just be careful about his ammo consumption, like in the actual horror entries of the series.
Right now.
This is another thing I like. He's about to grab the keys, like in a Resident Evil game, where it's like, oh, okay, here's the keys. It's the keys I need. And then it's, like, taken away from him. And it's like, it's probably there's probably going to be like some barrier or something. He's got to like go retrieve them. Like, I love that little detail. It does feel like thematically like a Resident Evil game. It's clearly like there's some departures here, because we have like Baron Harkonnen over here, who I guess is supposed to be reminiscent of a tyrant. This is not like what a tyrant has looked like. This is like, I guess, an American tyrant. He's like just this. Literally, it is Baron Harkonnen. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's more to him than this, but there are some. Oh shit! I pressed the wrong thing. There's like some. I don't know. Like, I do kind of wonder how big of a. He's obviously big, but how much of a threat like this fucking chubby piece of shit could be. It does. I guess it's like a very off-putting thing to see in, like, I'm assuming a sewer or a dark tunnel, like just a fucking weird thing. He might not even be a threat. It's just like this weird thing, maybe, that the Austin Abrams character encounters, and it's just like whatever. Because I do wonder, like, what this guy. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe he like tries to get around him, and this guy just suddenly gets up and like goes fucking berserk or something like that. But there's like some ideas of like some connection to the games, but it really does feel like it's kind of just going in its own direction. Thank you for the super chat donation, Goosefoot. Really appreciate it. All right, let's continue. Now, this is another like crazy thing. I love this shot. It's very reminiscent. This movie feels like it's going for an Evil Dead vibe, which is ironic because there's an Evil Dead movie coming out just a month before this, also from Sony. So, a little bit of, I guess, I don't know. We're going to talk about that Evil Dead movie, but this is very Evil Dead Rise, where supposedly, according to Cregger, I guess the zombies or mutants or whatever is going to be in the movie fuse together, like the Rat King in Last of Us Part 2, or the ultimate Deadite fucking thing in Evil Dead Burn. I love the look of this shot. I also love just... It might be a digitally manipulated shot where they make the door seem darker than it actually is. Maybe we actually see what this fucking thing is, like, within the movie itself. At the trailer, they want to obscure it a bit more. But, yeah, I don't know. It's a, like, very cool shot. And it also feels very different from Barbarian and Weapons. And thank you for the super chat donation, random stuff.
I just wanted you to know.
And I'm assuming that's the mutant, the fused mutant, before it fully, I guess, transforms and emerges. Now, this is a crazy shot. This is just like something that's not really even all that Resident Evil. It feels like a total trailer shot, though, where you just have these suicide bombing zombies. Where it's a cool shot. I do just kind of wonder, like, what the utility of bioweapons that commit suicide, what like that just kill themselves, like what that, like I guess it's like the Foxconn zombies or something. I love you too, Austin Abrams. And, I'm definitely looking forward to this movie. I've enjoyed all of Zach Cregger's films. This one looks very promising. But yeah, the controversy of this movie is, like most of the previous Resident Evil movies, it doesn't seem all that much like Resident Evil overtly. Cregger has said it takes place in the world of Resident Evil. I kind of doubt it. We see an iPhone in the trailer, so it can't take place in 1998, but apparently it takes place in Raccoon City. In Resident Evil 2 and 3, it took place in the summer. This is obviously winter, so there's definitely... I guess it could take place in a version of the timeline, but yeah, it's not quite like the Fallout show, where it can fit in pretty neatly for the most part within an existing game timeline. It definitely seems like there's some... definitely playing with the timeline a bit. Then again, I feel like a lot of what Cregger's been saying has been a little bit of, I guess, damage control to try to, I guess, try to convince hardcore Resident Evil fans that they'll be satisfied. I feel like this will definitely satisfy Cregger fans. I think maybe Resident Evil fans will definitely feel a little alienated, I guess, by the end product, because they're like hoping Leon will be in this, and it'll be like fucking roundhouse kicking zombies and shit, and they'll be very disappointed that it's not that. But I feel like the movie's definitely supposed to be structurally and thematically related to Resident Evil, and it has zombies, and it has fucking, it has like mutants and shit. It has all the Resident Evil ingredients. It's just not necessarily gonna really have like, and it also has Umbrella, supposedly, but it's not gonna have like the lore stuff. Like, it's not gonna be hard-coded with Resident Evil stuff. I'm sure Cregger, Cregger has played the Resident Evil games. I'm sure he's not like a hardcore fan of them. He's definitely played he played Requiem, I heard. So he's definitely played a lot of the games, but I feel like he's not gonna like be a fanboy and like pepper in tons of like very obscure Easter eggs or references. It's definitely gonna be much more just a cool horror movie, and I'm definitely into that. Just probably don't expect a faithful Resident Evil movie, but expect a cool horror movie. Now let's move on to the next topic, and I guess the last topic before I move on to the live Q&A, and that's Evil Dead Burn. Oh, burn, baby, burn. This is the 6th entry in the series. It's supposedly supposed to connect directly to Evil Dead Rise in a way that Evil Dead Rise did not connect with the Fede Alvarez movie. It's definitely, it's promising. I guess something I've noticed between Evil Dead Burn and Resident Evil is really last-minute promotion. That we now finally have a poster, and it looks pretty good, but it looks a lot like Drag Me to Hell. It doesn't look all that, I don't know, it feels a little generic as far as posters go. There's nothing, besides, I will say the logo looks fucking cool. Definitely a cool stylized version of the classic Evil Dead logo, but the actual poster, I don't know. But let's watch the trailer. Yes. And this looks like, honestly, it reminds me of the Myers house in Halloween 4.
All right, you ready?
Now, like the previous 2 Resident Evil movies, this one is going to be dealing with, surprise, surprise, family trauma. Yes, family trauma. That's been a running theme of, I guess, this unofficial Evil Dead trilogy, reboot trilogy, I guess. Though there's going to be a 4th one. I think, I'm not sure when the 4th one is coming out, when the 4th reboot movie is coming out, but it's coming out pretty soon. It's already in the works. It's been greenlit, so it's definitely something I have mixed feelings about, the trauma aspect of these new not of these new Evil Dead movies. It's really confusing when I'm covering two movies with zombies or possessed things that both have evil in the title. Oh god, I gotta make sure I'm not tripping up and saying Resident Evil accidentally. Evil Dead movies is yeah, I'm not so into the trauma element and the family dynamic thing, especially like I don't know, with this it's clear that there's an awkward thing where this chick's husband, who I believe is probably an abusive asshole, is what's implied in this trailer. So we should be happy that he is dead. But his direct family are resentful towards her, obviously, for, quietly celebrating this guy's death. I don't know, like, it's the same thing with 2013 Evil Dead was a little less like that for me, where it had the trauma element where the mother of the two main characters died, and there's like drama between them over that. And of course, the Jane Levy character, she's recovering from drug abuse. It has that element, but it feels a little bit, I don't know. Well, it feels a little less overt, and it focuses a little bit more on just the pure horror. With Rise, it felt a little too heavy-handed on the family shit, like just the traumatic family like shit, which kind of, I don't know, makes it a little less fun compared to like the classic Evil Dead movies, where it is just, here's like these dumb teens and we're gonna come up with creative ways to kill them. Like with the new movies, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little more heavy-handed and like a little less fun starting out, which makes them kind of harder to, even though they're like technically very good, makes them harder to like want to rewatch, because it can also kind of hit close to home too. And I just saw that dog. That dog's definitely going to die in this movie for sure. They're gonna fucking destroy that dog. I'm calling it. Like that's like the dog is gonna be the first thing just wrecked in this new Evil Dead movie.
No, now's the best time.
Where I can already tell, like I'm gonna be having fun with the Evil Dead stuff, but just totally uncomfortable by the family. Just like hoping the family all fucking just get wrecked in this movie.
He's down below.
Did somebody like nut in this guy's mouth? It's just an unfortunate, I don't know. You got something on your face, dude. But this movie is Evil Dead Burn, so there's gonna be some burning in this movie. Now, I think this is the first Evil Dead movie without Bruce Campbell producing it. I think Rob Tapert and Sam Raimi, of course, producing it. I believe Bruce Campbell has officially stepped aside from the franchise because of his illness. Unfortunately, I did read an interview where he said he was never very good at like producing movies. Like Sam and Rob were much more capable at that. But I feel like I'm hoping he has like some input in all the projects, Evil Dead projects going forward in some way at least. He does look like a nice boy. Oh man. I'm hoping he doesn't come back as a deadite and destroy this family. Now, I guess like the Necronomicon or Naturum de Monto scene in this movie, it does look like one of those weekly planners you buy at like Michael's. Hopefully I don't know. I kind of wonder how many of these fucking Book of the Deads there are at this point. It doesn't seem like it's the same one from Rise. But I guess it seems like with the reboot trilogy, they're making it so all the Book of the Deads have their own sort of flavor to them, where they all have like a different approach to bringing the dead back to life and wreaking havoc, where they're not quite the same thing. So you have different rules with each Book of the Dead, which it's an interesting idea instead of like, yeah, it's just the one Book of the Dead from the original film. Well, I guess there were 3 in Army of Darkness, but 2 of them were fake. I kind of wish in this trailer, I guess it's nice that they don't give away all the gore, but yeah, we're definitely going to see some fingers falling out of that car door. There's oh my god, this shot, some shots where I don't know, like this shot feels a little too CGI and well, I don't know. I guess it's just a shitty looking shot. It's probably all the shots. Like I'll sometimes see a shot and it'll be like, no, that was actually done practically, and it's like, okay, I guess it just looks bad, but um. But it does. I guess something I do like about this trailer so far is all the Evil Dead movies, besides Army of Darkness, of course, have been constrained within mostly just one location, like inside, just inside a cabin, or in Rise's case, inside a high-rise apartment building. With this movie, it does seem like it is a sprawling environment. Like there's multiple different locations. You even have a dog here. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I guess I called it. Yeah, the dog does become a deadite, a dogite. Which I don't think we've. I'm trying to think. We maybe in. It's been a while since I rewatched Ash versus Evil Dead. Maybe there were some animal deadites, but I can't remember another case of like an animal deadite like this. So I guess it's an interesting idea that even animals can come back as deadites, huh? Yeah, the premise seems like it's a family just hashing out their issues with each other. That's the impression I'm getting here. Now I love this part where she drinks the candle wax because it reminds me of that Simpsons episode where Homer goes to the chili cook-off. And in order to eat the Guatemalan insanity pepper, he has to, I guess, numb his mouth with candle wax. So I guess she's just getting ready to eat Guatemalan insanity pepper, is what I'm assuming there. Also, just great logo. Love that logo. Now, this gore sequence, this kill sequence does remind me of, like, unfortunately reminds me of Winnie the Pooh 2. One of the few things I remember from Winnie the Pooh 2 is one of the parents, either the mom or the dad, they get fucked up by Winnie the Pooh I think they get like their head stuffed into a dishwasher like this. So it's a little, I guess, derivative of Winnie the Pooh 2, but definitely getting to me. Yeah, this looks pretty gnarly. So it looks like a gory, fun time. I do have mixed feelings about, like, the traumatic elements, but at the same time, it's always just that thing of, like, we gotta, like, inject something to elevate a horror movie. When at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, I kind of just want to have some campy fun, honestly. I don't need, like, touchy family subject matter shit, but, it is what it is. Well, that was Evil Dead Burns trailer. I'm gonna see it. And I'm definitely probably going to have a really good time. It's just, I'm hoping, I don't know, Evil Dead can get a little bit more purely fun going forward at some point. Because, like, that's part of what makes the movies really rewatchable, the original trilogy, is it's just like these fun, goofy characters, like, with very loose archetypes that just are like a perfect blank slate canvas for, like, havoc. Where you can even, like, evolve the character. With these movies, I feel like they're also way too grounded and gritty, where you can't really evolve the characters. So every one of these movies has been self-contained. Whereas, I guess that's something I hope, is that these movies can evolve and, like, go into interesting directions like the original trilogy. Because, like, you start out with the first movie, they're just in, like, a cabin fighting possessed demon zombies, and then in the third movie, like, the main character time travels to fucking medieval Europe and fights, undead demon zombies. I mean, I guess it's the same thing, but it's like a much more fantastical thing where it's like, oh man, I just took it into a crazy direction, and I guess with the, more self-contained, grounded, traumatic Evil Dead movies, you can't really do that so much. Hopefully, they loosen things up a little bit and make the series a little bit more purely fun, is all I'm really hoping for. All right, now, before we open up the floor for Q&A questions, I want to just share some channel news, all right? So, June Universal Horror Month is going to be returning next month. This is going to be the first June Universal Horror Month that will have a overarching theme, and that's Junesters, June Universal Monsters Month. I'm going to be covering all of the entries in the Monsters franchise. I'm going to be doing retrospectives on the 2 TV shows and the various one theatrical movie and various made-for-TV movies in the Munsters series and the various failed pilots. So I'm going to be, and also, of course, Rob Zombie's Munsters to cap it all off. So it's going to be a very, very thorough look back on the Munsters franchise, which is a Universal horror franchise. Well, I guess it's not really horror, but it's a Universal monster franchise for sure. It was shot at Universal Studios, made by Universal Studios. It counts. It fucking counts. And also, I will be finishing off Resident Evil Requiem, hopefully before this next Saturday, but if not before next Saturday, then next Saturday we'll finally be finishing off Resident Evil Requiem. And also the Last Shadow Zone review will be up on Tuesday from Goulash. Gonna be the last, maybe the last Goulash video for a little bit. Now, I guess the other channel news is I have a double feature with my Patreon supporters every Sunday night. The next one is Fear Street Part 2, 1978, with Cabin in the Woods as a companion film. We've been going through the Fear Street trilogy. Last week we started with the Part 1, and then next week we're gonna do Part 3, but this Sunday we're doing Part 2, so if you want to support the channel and get bonus movie night streams every Sunday, patreon.com/drwolfula, just $5 a month, get you movie night every week. Link in the description. And final bit of channel news is, well, the Wolfulayer Discord has been reopened to new members. Link in the description if you're interested. So just so you know, like, if you want to join the Discord, you have about a week. So if you're like, about a week after this stream premieres. So if you miss out and you're like messaging me, like, Doc, where's the Discord link? The Discord link doesn't work anymore. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna care because you had a week. It's not my fault you're not watching these streams when they come out. It's not my fault you're not watching the reviews when they come out. If you want the Discord link, you gotta keep an eye out. So you have at least a week to join the Discord. So, if you want to join in, link in the description. All right. Okay. Now let's open the floor for questions, okay? Let's see here. Pop Culture Guy says 1616 Mockingbird Lane should have went to series. Such missed potential and such a waste of an expensive-looking set. Yeah, it's crazy that, like, to me, Munsters is such a missed opportunity as a franchise. There have been multiple attempts to revive Munsters that have all been, not necessarily like creative failures, though there are definitely some creative failures, but there's just it's the ironic thing of when Munsters came out, it was made as a last minute, when the original Munsters came out, it was made as a last minute response to Addams Family on a competing network. Universal was like, well, we have we have the Universal catalog of monsters. We could do our own thing and cut them off at the fucking kneecaps. And Munsters ended up being a bigger success than Addams Family in ratings. But then, for whatever reason, the Addams Family revivals have been, by and large, much more successful, to the point where, unfortunately, Munsters, it has some serious nostalgia value for subsequent generations. But Addams Family has since eclipsed that franchise, unfortunately, which is a huge shame. I guess that's what happens. It doesn't help that they were like, Rob Zombie, he's gonna be the guy who will revive the Munsters. I don't know. It's such a strange thing, but I guess the real issue with Munsters is it's just so tied to the original cast. Like, they recast Marilyn, but Butch Patrick, the original cast, they're all just so iconic in their roles that it just feels weird to see somebody else in the makeup. Like, it just feels strange and uncanny. I guess another thing I need to say is that for the next month's event thing, I had to buy a bootleg copy of the entire series of Munsters Today, which is the only other Munsters TV show. It's just nowhere online. Universal has done all it can to make sure Munsters Today is completely unavailable, and I guess for good reason, because it fucking sucks. It's like a genuinely terrible show. It's just crazy how shitty it is. It's insane. Let me see here. All right. Thank you for the super chat, Jason Nelson. Longtime viewer, what's your fave 26 horror film? Let me think. I did love Send Help. I really enjoyed it, but it's not really. It's got a horror vibe, but it's not. It's a little bit more of just like a dark comedy than horror, but it's got some horror vibes to it. I did like Send Help. Trying to think off the top of my head. I didn't really like Lee Cronin's The Mummy all that much, unfortunately. I was kind of looking forward to it initially, but I wasn't so into it. I loved Hokum. That was a movie I watched recently. That might be my favorite of the year so far. Like Hokum, which I initially wasn't really looking forward to it all that much because it was like the first trailer was just, it was just like that like spooky cartoon character guy, like just a few spooky shots and then eventually just a jump scare of that spooky cartoon guy. I was like, I don't know, that doesn't look very good. But then it ended up being like, yeah, just a genuinely great fucking movie. There have been some. I also loved 28. Actually, maybe 28 years later, The Bone Temple might be my favorite of the year, which is unfortunate because yeah, I didn't even realize that it didn't make that much money at the box office. Apparently it didn't make any, like it didn't make its money back. Like it was made for an insane amount of money. Like I think what I read was like $100 million or something crazy like that. Like let me look up 28 years later's box office. I was surprised to see it didn't do well, but it does make sense to a certain degree because yeah, okay, so it makes sense to a certain degree why it wasn't successful. Oh yeah, it made $58 million on a $63 million budget, which is just crazy. Which I honestly don't know what they were thinking releasing it less than a year after the first one. Like I don't know. I think they needed to wait a little longer. Get people. I don't know. Like because. I don't know. A lot of people don't see movies right away, and like when you find out the sequel is out like 7 months later, they're just like, "All right, I guess I'm just never gonna catch up." They're just gonna keep releasing these things. I don't know. It just sends out a bad impression. So the release strategy for the Bone Temple was pretty bad, very detrimental, and apparently they still haven't secured budget for the third and final entry in 28 years later. So I guess they weren't shooting them back to back. They just shot the first two back to back. So hopefully they are able to get that third one out. Because, yeah, the spoilers, Bone Temple sets up Cillian Murphy's character's return. So, yeah, I definitely would like to see that. It would suck if, I don't know. It would suck if, like, they're just like, yeah, well, I guess you'll just have to, like, use your mind to imagine. Like, I feel like, because, like, they also have Cillian Murphy's daughter, and she's, like, a kid. Like, I fear, like, yeah, I guess if they do another one, it'll be such a long time that they'll have to recast that child actor who played Cillian Murphy's daughter. Oh, man. Rowand60 says, the problem with the Munsters is that it's too heavily based on the Universal-style monsters in a way that makes it feel heavily dated, whereas the Addams were their own thing. That is true. The Addams Family are timeless characters. They aren't like connected to a certain era of horror necessarily, and you can modernize them relatively easily. Whereas, Herman Munster is clearly Boris Karloff's Frankenstein, which made sense and had a lot of appeal when Munsters came out because the Universal Monsters movies were heavily aired like just on TV, like they were aired and like they were rerun all the time on TV. So there was this whole generation of kids, like a new generation of kids that were newly familiar with these characters and had a lot of appeal. And they like made tons of merchandise for the Universal Monsters in like the 60s and stuff. It made sense to, capitalize on that to a certain degree, especially after Abbott and Costello had already like lampooned the monsters. It made sense. Oh yeah, let's continue the comedic legacy. But yeah, now like, yeah, it's an unfortunate thing where, yeah, there just aren't as many, I guess, kids being introduced to the classic monsters like they used to be. They're not really being presented. Like even by like the 80s and 90s, you could still like catch a classic. I mean, Svengoolie. I think Svengoolie's catalog is exclusively classic Universal Monsters movies, but besides that, they're kind of harder to like I guess, get into if you're a kid, even if you're interested. You have to, like, buy a DVD or Blu-ray. It's just a little more inaccessible, I suppose. Emperor Caleb Teen says, "Hey Doc, glad to see you live. Love your Saturday streams." Yeah, I gotta try to make sure these streams are a regular thing. It's just hard to, like, I don't know. It's just hard to get into a regular habit, especially when I get so drawn into editing a video or writing a video where I'm like, I can't have any distractions. I've gotta fucking finish this thing. But I gotta just make time for this thing, because that's definitely a big part of running a YouTube channel, is regularly connecting with the fan base. Because from my I guess, I don't know, from like my observations, unless you're like paying money to promote your posts, there isn't really social media anymore. Like, there's just, like, even if you have followers, a social media website or app, they're actively not really promoting your posts to people's feeds like they used to, unless you pay to actually have your feeds be seen. So I just get a lot of radio silence for the most part on social media. So these streams are a good way to remind myself, oh yeah, I guess some people watch my videos still. All right. Because otherwise, yeah, it's been totally silent. Scary Maryland says, have y'all ever seen that rich guy in North Texas with the replicated Munsters house? I did see that. I didn't get like a full-blown like tour of it, but I did find it online when I was looking up pictures of the Munsters house, where there's like no good, for whatever reason, there's no good like pics of the original Munsters house. Like, I don't know why. A lot of the pics I've found online are just low res, but like there's just like this one fan who made this really faithful recreation of the Munsters house, just as the house he lives in. Man, I wish I had that kind of money where I could just live in like the actual Munsters house if I wanted to. But, oh man, that would be fucking amazing. Emperor Caleb Teen says, I want to say that your Discord is great, and I love the engagement there. Well, thank you, Caleb. Hopefully, we'll get some new members in, and hopefully they'll be well-behaved. And also in the Discord, I've been trying to make a habit of regularly voice chatting with folks, just streaming whatever I'm working on, like either editing a video or designing some graphics while chatting with folks. So yeah, definitely join the Discord. I'm pretty much, I do have some mods on the Discord, but they mostly just, I guess, they do mostly kind of consult me, like, should we delete this post that shows like a dick or something? Yeah, I probably should do like stuff like that. I mostly, the Discord is almost, pretty much, honestly, completely under my control. I'm always looking at it. Even if I don't post in the Discord, I'm always seeing everything that's posted. I have notifications for every channel, so my eyes are always on that fucking Discord. So, and the Discord is completely built by me. All the emoji, all the channel, all that shit, based on my own decisions. All completely under my creative control. All right. The Parker Anime Show says, hey Doc, longtime viewer, love your videos, and have you seen Good Boy? If so, is it good, and will you review the Phantasm series? I wanted to see Good Boy, but I just didn't. I think I've seen it, the DVD, at Walmart a couple times, but I wanted to catch it in theaters, but it came out such a busy time that I wasn't able to fit it in. It sounded very compelling, where it's a horror movie completely from a dog's perspective. It sounded very interesting, but I didn't manage to catch it, unfortunately. Maybe I will soon, but I can't say. I mean, I heard good things. I think from everyone I've heard, like, everybody has said, like, good stuff about it. Like, I haven't heard anything bad about it. And it's kind of hard to hate a movie about a dog anyway. Dogs are cute. Like, the dogs are just totally lovable anyway. So you cast, like, a dog as the main character in your thing. You know, I can't fucking hate it. Like, it's a dog. The dogs are fucking awesome. So I gotta see Good Boy. And also, I do want to cover the Phantasm series at some point. I did get the On Joe Bob Briggs's urging, I did get the Phantasm box set where he's like, Don Coscarelli has reprinted the limited edition Phantasm box set that comes with the sphere. You got to get it because this will like sell out and stuff. Like, and I don't think it has sold out. Like, and then the sphere is just like this little cheap plastic thing, but it's a cool like bonus thing. You don't really because it was like a very affordable box set too, and you don't really see those little extra pack-in things with physical media as much. And when you do, it's usually like an actual limited edition thing with like 200 printings. I did see like the Halloween series was coming out with like this limited edition steelbook of just I think like the first 5 movies in 4K, and it came in a cheap plastic pumpkin case, but they ended up canceling it because the pumpkin case is just like broke. Like they couldn't they just couldn't stay together, so they just completely canceled all the pre-orders for that fucking thing. I think maybe they still released like the steelbooks by themselves, but yeah, I don't know. It sucks that like quality across the board and like everything, even like premium physical media things, just bad, just totally fucking bad. It's really just but that's the world we chose to live in. Everything getting worse, it's just how things should go. Thank you for the super chat, Tums Festival. Love your channel, Doc. I wish I had something witty. Well, I appreciate the support at least, but try to come up with something witty. Come on. I'll give you some time. Hopefully you'll come up with something witty. All right. Let's see here. Symbiotic Spider 9729 asks, do you think there's potential for horror spoof films that aren't strictly Scary Movie? Something more in vain to Young Frankenstein? I'd love something more like Young Frankenstein, admittedly, where it's kind of... Because Young Frankenstein has like an interesting concept where it's not a direct spoof of the original Frankenstein movies. It's it's a legacy sequel. It's a comedic legacy sequel that does directly spoof things from the original Frankenstein movies. You have like Gene Hackman playing the blind man that the monster befriends, for instance. Like they parody that stuff specifically, but it doesn't necessarily really follow the plot of any of the movies specifically. It will riff on things from the movies, but it's ultimately its own original concept. I mean, that's definitely it'd be funny to be like, yeah, the next Halloween movie will just be a legacy sequel spoof of Halloween or something like that. You don't really see that at all with horror generally, like Young Frankenstein. Yeah, I would love something more like that than something like Scary Movie, which is funny, but with even the new Scary Movie, it feels like they're kind of stapling a bunch of different movies together kind of awkwardly, where it's like the Scary Movie 6 has... I guess their parody of the Jenna Ortega character is named Tuesday, and they're parodying her more as Wednesday. It has like shit like that, and it's parodying Halloween 2018 mixed with Scream 5, shit like that. But it also has like weapons references and shit, like a Sinners parody where I guess there's gonna be the vampires from Sinners too. Like I don't know, it feels like it's just I don't know, like I'm hoping for the best, but it does seem like it's a return to that like bad era of horror parodies where they were just kind of stapling a bunch of recent movies together kind of awkwardly. But hopefully, it'll probably still have some funny gags though. Scary Maryland says, not to be a negative Nelly, but you know what movie I hate? Transylvania 6500. I haven't seen that, but I kind of want to see it. It's got Jeff Goldblum in it. Jeff Goldblum is like a dog. I can't hate Jeff Goldblum. I can't hate him. I just can't. But I guess also, besides Young Frankenstein, another like horror parody that I love is Rocky Horror Picture Show, where that isn't like a direct parody of any specific movie. It's just kind of lampooning the tropes of horror movies, like stuff like that. You don't really see that kind of approach to horror that's made much more for the fans. Like something like Scary Movie is the original Scary Movie is very funny, but it's definitely not really made for horror fans. It's made for just casual viewers who maybe saw the movies, maybe didn't. But, they'll have like a laugh. Like they'll like maybe they didn't see I Know What You Did Last Summer, but they don't need to for like the locker room scene where the guy finds a picture of his tiny dick. Like, it's just funny. It's like a picture of a guy's tiny dick. That's funny by itself. You don't need to see the movie. Whereas, like, I would love more like hardcore sort of horror parodies, but you don't really see that. Like, I guess it's kind of harder to, I don't know, make money off that. But I guess Behind the Mask 2 is coming out, and Behind the Mask 1 is basically also a horror parody. So who knows? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll get some smarter horror comedies again soon, hopefully. Pop Culture Guy 3000 has a super chat, thank you. What I love about Gene Wilder and Young Frankenstein was that he got a magnificent monologue before he shouts, "You son of a bitch!" and has a hilarious meltdown on his apparently failed creation. Yeah, Gene Wilder, that's something I love about that movie, too, is that it's, he wrote the movie as well. Like, I think maybe exclusively, or maybe he just co-wrote it, but, like, just definitely a passion project of Wilder's. It's just he's just fucking brilliant in the role of Frankenstein. It's just one of his best appearances. Also my favorite Mel Brooks movie. All right, let's see. Jay Bird says the Elvira movie is a decent parody adjacent movie. Yeah, that's also like, it's not necessarily even parody. It's just like a fun horror comedy. I guess I don't want to say any horror movie that happens to have comedy in it is parody, but it does I guess it does lampoon some tropes of horror movies, especially like the witch trial kind of tropes where there's like a weird, like there's an alternative woman and the whole community turns against her because she's like leading the youth to temptation or sinning or whatever bullshit, so they have to burn her at the stake. All right. Symbiotic Spider says, I'm anticipating Spaceballs 2. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Spaceballs 2. I'm kind of interested in it, but I got to see more about it because, yeah, I don't know. Because I guess the difference between Spaceballs 1 and Spaceballs 2 is Spaceballs 1 was lampooning good movies. It had, like, movies that were, like, original. It was mainly the original Star Wars trilogy. Solid movies that you can really lampoon. Like, you have a solid foundation to just, like, add jokes to. Whereas, like, I guess maybe the Spaceballs 2, because there's been two trilogies since. So I guess maybe Spaceballs 2 will combine elements of the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, which definitely some stuff you can make fun of there, but I feel like the difference is that it will be like more mean-spirited shit where it's like, yeah, those movies kind of suck. Like, they kind of suck. So you're just kind of be, I guess, I don't know. Like, it won't come from a place of love like the original Spaceballs. But I guess, I don't know. But at the same time, the only other Spaceballs thing is the Spaceballs animated series that came out in the, like, late 2000s. And that show really fucking sucked. So, I don't know. Like, I guess I still have really bad memories of that Flash animated Spaceballs cartoon that aired on G4. It did have Mel Brooks reprising his role as President Scroob in Yogurt, though, so I guess it had that going for it at least. All right, Serpenthrope has a super chat. Thank you, Serpenthrope. What classic horror movie most needs a spoof? Out of the classic horror movies, let me think. I mean, Dracula already got the spoof treatment with Dracula Dead and Loving It. I feel like, I don't know, The Invisible Man got like a really great spoof in the movie Amazon Women from the Moon. If you haven't seen that, check that out. It's basically just a collection of skits, just kind of edited together from different filmmakers. But that movie's spoof of Invisible Man was Son of the Invisible Man, and it had Ed Begley Jr. playing the title character who believes he's perfected his father's formula and thinks he's invisible for the whole skit. He like takes off his clothes, and the whole joke is that he's not invisible. He's just like naked and just like wandering around this fucking tavern completely nude, like, and like just like harassing the patrons, like making them like he thinks like he'll like grab a guy's dart and like just like make the dart from his perspective seem like it's floating to the dartboard, but they could fucking see this like naked jackass like doing all this shit. It really made me wish that it was like a full movie. But I guess it would get old. It'd be the same joke. He's just like naked. Like they kind of exhaust the premise. I guess you don't really need 90 minutes to really explore a spoof premise necessarily. But you know, we got Young Frankenstein, we got Dracula Dead and loving it. Let me think. I guess I don't know. Well, I feel like Wolfman. Well, I guess Wolfman got Teen Wolf though. Kinda. I guess that's kind of a spoof. Maybe not. I guess a spoof on werewolves. I guess maybe Creature from the Black Lagoon could use a spoof, especially after Del Toro did like a serious romantic movie with the character. I think it'd be fun to like do a more lighthearted version of it. That could maybe be like, I don't know. I guess Del Toro did lean into the romance, but maybe it could be more like a rom-com kind of thing. Maybe that could be kind of funny. But yeah, the classic monsters have been like so heavily spoofed, since they were released. It's kind of hard to like, I guess, find some new terrain that hasn't been explored. All right, let me see here. Okay, so Tom's Festival has another super chat. Any thoughts on Dead Silence or Saw reboot? I haven't seen Dead Silence, but I am looking forward to another Saw movie just because I like Saw 10 quite a bit. It felt like the most, honestly, it might be my favorite Saw movie, Saw 10, because it's the most focused of the Saw movies. It doesn't have like a bunch of flashbacks. It's not like constantly shifting to different time periods and being confusing. It's a linear narrative structure. It's just kind of focused on a set of characters who have to escape from some traps, and the traps are cool. Like, it's pretty much it. Like, it doesn't overcomplicate things. So I guess if they continue with that, I guess I do kind of wonder if they're just going to keep bringing back Tobin Bell and just, like, revealing different time periods where he did other Saw traps before he died. It's crazy. Like, it definitely felt like Lee Winnell writing the third one. He was like, all right, I gotta end this series. Killing Jigsaw will definitely shut this shit down. He also kills Amanda in the same thing. It definitely felt like he was like resentful that they kept making more Saw movies. Like, all right, we gotta end this fucking thing already. And then they just kept making him. Like, they were like, all right, we'll just bring back Jigsaw through flashbacks and reveal there were other apprentices and shit. It's just like, oh man. Yeah, I'm sure, I guess if they knew they were going to keep making so many more, they maybe would have, I guess, wanted to wait a little longer before they finally killed Jigsaw. Or maybe even, like, I don't know, like, some miracle way he fucking survives, but he still decides, I like making these traps and shit. Well, they can't do that now. Hopefully they just, I guess, move forward with the series and come up with a compelling new character to center them around. All right. Thank you for the super chat, Nicholas, and another super chat from Emperor Caleb Teen. Thoughts on the Star Fox 64 remake? I love the new designs as it really has made the furry seethe. I honestly like the look of the game. Some people have said it looks Uncanny Valley, but I like that it's just kind of, I don't know, I like that it's like this gritty Star Fox thing. Like, I don't know, I definitely appreciate the aesthetic they're going for, where it's, they're kind of experimenting with all the different looks of their various games. I've never played any of the Star Fox games myself. I definitely would be interested in this new one, especially since the Switch 2 hasn't had like a lot of games I'm all that into. I definitely give Star Fox a try, especially since it's funny that the original Star Fox I got reimagined with Star Fox 64, and then they remade Star Fox 64 for the 3DS, and then they reimagined Star Fox 64 for the Wii U with Star Fox Zero, and now they're remaking Star Fox 64 again for the Switch 2, where it's I don't know, like if it's not like Mario or Zelda, Nintendo really just likes to just re-release the same fucking games for their other franchises, for their B franchises. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's kind of weird and sad, but I haven't played any of the Star Fox games, so I assume this will be a good one to start with. But yeah, I like the way it looks. I'm glad it's not like Super Mario Galaxy movie Star Fox. I don't know. I don't need that shit. It's nice and gritty and edgy. I like that. I like edgy Star Fox. All right. And I got another super chat from My Video Maker. Hey Doc, I haven't talked about. Oh wait, hey Doc, you haven't talked about Scooby-Doo news, like the new Netflix show. I really want to hear your opinion. I'm keeping an open mind to it. I did talk about the Netflix Scooby-Doo show in the last one of these streams. In fact, I think I still have the slide. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's the there's the new cast for the Netflix Scooby-Doo show. I talked about it a couple Sundays ago. No, a couple Saturdays ago, I mean. I like the way the cast looks. They're it's a very conventional, safe casting. I guess they're like, we tried some different things with the previous Scooby-Doo castings. Got a lot of backlash, so let's play it a little more safe. They look like the Scooby-Doo gang. They even have a blonde Fred. They didn't cop out. They're like, they all have the correct hair colors and skin colors. I mean, and also it seems like it'll be a little bit more lighthearted than other Netflix things, where there's even a Scooby-Doo paw print there, like it's Blue's Clues. So I'm interested in it, kinda. I haven't had a Netflix subscription since the Fear Street trilogy 4 years ago at this point. So not really into Netflix, but definitely give this show a shot as a Scooby-Doo fan. All right, let's get back to here. Okay, good. And actually, I'm going to take a little minute-long break. Going to have some Fresca, and I'm gonna let pre-recorded me give some shout-outs, so sit tight. It's that time again for me to give thanks and present my monthly Wolfulayer shout-outs to the top-tier supporters on Patreon and my YouTube channel memberships. Links to all these folks are in the description. The Field of Screams podcast talks horror movies wherever you get your podcasts, and their horror movie chats are also available on YouTube. They recently covered The Medium. Give them a subscribe and listen today. I want to give a shout out to Captain Meinstein's YouTube channel. He's a horror host like me who reviews horror films, including slasher flicks. Subscribe to him today. Subscribe to Rio Bill Clips today. He has a short film up on his channel offering his own vision on the Frankenstein mythos. Give it a watch ASAP. Next, I'm going to have to suggest that you subscribe to Rockland Graves Productions, a prolific reviewer of horror films. Give his videos a watch today. He recently covered the Deadites of Evil Dead Rise. All right, I'm back. Man, my voice was getting haggard. I really needed that break. Okay, I'm back. Arlo the Duck says, "Howdy, Doc. Greetings." All right, let's find another question. Brayley Ghost says, "Why is the Scooby Gang all wearing beige?" Let me see. What? Yeah, I don't know. The way they color corrected the photo, it has this sepia tone look to it, where I guess maybe they'll do an origin story of when did they get their color-coded outfits? But this does take place at a camp, I should mention. So maybe the camps, I believe the camp is called Camp Ruby Spears, named after the Scooby-Doo creators. Hopefully they have an Iwao Takamoto nod in this series, because, Ruby and Spears definitely created the conventions and premise of Scooby-Doo and, the characters. But Iwao Takamoto honestly should have gotten a co-creator credit, because he designed the characters. It's kind of crazy that he doesn't have that fucking co-creator credit. It's crazy, honestly. I'm assuming they're at camp, so they'll have some kind of uniform. So you'll naturally be dressed uniform. But honestly, I'm not a big fan of the camp premise. It does feel like such a contrived way to bring the Scooby-Doo gang together. It feels like, I don't know, we've seen so many so many of these contrived origins for Scooby-Doo recently that I'm not super enthusiastic about it, but I'm hoping for the best. I am hoping for the best. All right, let's see here. Um, Arla the Duck says the Scooby Gang's counselors are named Hannah and Barbara. Yeah, I'm hoping like all the Easter eggs in the Scooby Doo show are just super on the nose, just like the most obvious things. And then there'll be like a YouTube video where it'll be like Scooby Doo references you missed. And it's like, oh boy. Okay. Serpenthrop has a super chat. Thank you. Just hit me. You never reviewed Alice, Sweet Alice. I would be interested in covering that. But yeah, there's honestly just a shitload of movies I haven't covered. I'm gonna try to for Octoberland this year. I'm gonna try to cover at least all of the amusement park horror movies out there that I have not already covered. And yeah, the next October is gonna be theme park themed. I already designed most of the stuff. It was supposed to be Octoberland last year, but I just didn't have enough time to like prep it, so I decided to just go back to Camp October. I was like, well, I already have all this shit set up already. I might as well just reuse it and cover some other summer camp and ghost story movies I hadn't covered yet. But I still need to cover. There's still so many. I still need to cover the Urban Legend series. I meant to do that last year, but again, I just didn't have enough time. That's the biggest foe against me and my channel is just time, just not having enough time. The videos are increasingly becoming more complicated, and like a lot more research, a lot longer times writing the videos and editing them. It's just hard to like just get all the shit done that I want to do. Oh well. All right. Starman Fane says, have you read the comic book series Crossed? I am familiar with it. Actually, I've read a bit of it. It definitely seems like it's fucked up. It's definitely a comic they never gonna be able to do justice, never be able to do justice adapting. It's really fucked up. It's like, this virus that makes people's faces, like puts a bloody cross on people's faces, and they go crazy and like, brutally attack and rape. There's a lot of rape in the comics. That's a big thing. Like, it's it's definitely a Garth Ennis comic where it's definitely going as brutal and edgy as possible. Bob Dylan asks, is Dr. Wolfula behaving myself? Like I'm Bob Dylan. Is Dr. Wolfula behaving himself? I like to think I am, but who can say for sure? But I like to think I am. Louis Trevino says, perhaps I'm 15 years too late, but have you thought of reviewing Flash-based horror games like Geosate and Ow Sable? I did like, I definitely did not pronounce those games right, but I did review a Friday the 13th Flash game from back in the day called Escape from Camp Crystal Lake. The video is now in the unlisted playlist. You can still watch it. You just, I have been cleaning up the channel's archives and kind of decluttering things, focusing on the main videos. So a lot of videos got unlisted, but they're still watchable. You just got to go to that specific playlist. There's like just a ton of old videos that I don't know, like definitely didn't connect with people as much, but I did have fun doing that Flash game review, like, but that was fucking like forever ago. But yeah, I don't know, like I did love playing Flash games. I especially love playing the Adult Swim Flash games. Adult Swim had some amazing Flash games, and I've seen like a lot of them have started to get properly archived. A lot of the Adult Swim games were kind of lost for a bit, but I was able to finally, like, there was this one Venture Brothers Flash game. There's two Venture Brothers Flash games specifically. There's one of them is a stealth game where you play as Brock. He lost his license to kill, so he can't kill any henchmen, so he has to sneak around them to beat the levels, which is all right. But then there's like the other Flash game, which is basically Flappy Bird before Flappy Bird was a thing, called Flight of the Monarch, where the monarch is dreaming, and you just use your mouse to like fly him in the air and like dodge like laser beams and shit like while he's like in his dream. So yeah, I love. Oh, there was also this Harvey Birdman Flash game where it was also a stealth game where Harvey Birdman lost some cases, so he just breaks into prisons and like frees his clients, which is a strange premise. I mean, he's a lawyer. They never did that in the show where he was like breaking people out of, or breaking these cartoon characters out of prisons, but you know, I guess I don't know. But it was a fun game though. It's not like logically sound, I suppose, but definitely a fun Flash game. All right, let's find another question. Brilly Ghost says, Wolfula, can you attempt a Monarch impression? All right, I can try. Die, Dr. Venture! All right. It's the same fucking thing.
Butterflies only live about 9 months.
All right, let's see here. Pop Culture Guy says, where are the Adult Swim Flash games archived? I love that Stroker and Hoop pinball game. I never played the Stroker and Hoop pinball game. I did recently rewatch Stroker and Hoop, but you can find, I think all the Adult Swim fan games are archived on archive.com, so you just look them up. I think that's where I played them. But yeah, I recently rewatched Stroker and Hoop, and honestly, it's one of the best Adult Swim shows. I wish it got a second season. It's still really funny. It's a kind of ugly looking show, but it's a very funny, really honestly very funny fucking show. But all right, let's see here. Wicked Good Toast says, did you ever play the Harvey Birdman Wii game? It was an Ace Attorney knockoff made by Capcom. I did hear about it, and I've seen some gameplay of it, but I never got to play it. I would have loved to. Definitely looked cool. I never even played any of the Ace Attorney games either, so yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. Relly Ghost says that Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend impression were perfect. Well, thank you. Definitely, man, what I would do to be with Dr. Girlfriend. That Monarch is a lucky guy. All right. Joe Fiero says, Doc, do you think Jeff Bridges was playing Michael Myers in Starman, or is Michael Myers a Starman? I have to admit, I have not seen Starman. I would love to see Starman. It's definitely a John Carpenter blind spot for me. Definitely need to check out Starman. I love Jeff Bridges in pretty much everything. All right, let's see. Prizzy asks, who wins in a fight? Dr. Gordon from Saw or Dr. Manhattan? I'm assuming. I'm assuming this is like a dick measuring contest. Then I'm gonna have to go with Dr. Gordon. Like the guy's. I guess he cut off one of his legs, but his biggest leg is definitely still intact, is my assumption, and I'm sure it can. I'm sure it puts even Dr. Manhattan's to shame. Pop Culture Guy says, how long do you think that Hoop would have remained closeted? He probably would have only come out in the final episodes or finale if it got another season and they knew when it would end, right? Hoop from Stroker and Hoop is definitely effeminate, that's for sure. But I don't know if that necessarily makes you gay. But, Hoop was depicted as a Lothario kind of guy, where he easily had sex with lots of women despite being an effeminate nerd, which is like an ironic subversion of the Stroker character being this ultra masculine, like, fucking schlub that never gets laid in the show. But Hoop is such a funny, like, I'm just remembering the episode where they visit the South, where they're like wanted, like Stroker and Hoop are wanted by the Mexican mafia, so they go into hiding in the South, and they go into hiding with Hoop's cousin, who looks and sounds just like him, and the cousin turns out to be a serial killer, but they like switch places, so Stroker can't tell which Hoop is the real Hoop. But then like one of the They're doing like a Civil War read. Like the show had so many complicated like plots where so much shit was going on. There's like also a War reenactment, and one of the Civil War reenactors is like, there's one way you could tell them apart. They dress to different sides. And like they look at like the bulges of the two hoops, and like they're pointing in different directions. And Hoop is just like, "Why are you looking at my penis?" Like, just like I always remember that scene. All right. Scary Maryland says, it's Saturday night. We had cheese pizza and potato chips for dinner 3 hours ago. We're popping on a movie. What snacks do you want from the kitchen? I could definitely go for, I don't know, maybe some Pringles if you got them. Yeah, I don't know, maybe some Pringles. I guess my go-to, I have been sneaking snacks and sodas into my local theater. Lately, I have not bothered with, because like now, like theater prices, like you get a popcorn and a drink for like $20. Like fuck that. Like come on, I know that's how they stay afloat, but honestly, fuck that. Fuck that noise. Like dear Lord. So yeah, I've been like sneaking in a vanilla Coke and a bag of gummy worms, sour gummy worms. And honestly, it's just refreshing. I mean, I guess honestly it leads to a serious stomach ache. But honestly, a nice thing to sneak into a movie theater. They never check. Like I have like these bulging pockets. One pocket has a vanilla Coke in it. Another pocket has a bag of gummy worms. They never notice it. I think maybe even like the top of the vanilla Coke is visible in my pocket. Still never notice. Like it's great. I definitely recommend sneaking food and drinks into your movie theater viewing experiences. Especially, I got the AMC what's it? AMC what's the name of like the AMC A-list subscription? Oh man, it took me a while to come up with A-list. The AMC A-list subscription, which costs $27 a month, but you can see 4 movies a week. So it's just like, man, I'm saving so much money. I'm sneaking stuff in. I'm not having to pay like $10 to $15 per ticket anymore. It's great. This is awesome. Oh man, I'm just saving so much money. I'm just stealing from AMC. Fuck them. Prizzy says, if they had Fresca on tap, would you buy it? I mean, they have Coca-Cola Freestyle machines, and Fresca is a Coke product. But I don't believe I've ever encountered Fresca in a Freestyle machine. I don't think, which is such a shame. It feels like such a blind spot. But Fresca, for whatever reason, is just not like as widely available. Like a lot of people I've talked to aren't even familiar with the drink at all. Like, it feels like it's definitely something that's more available in, like, southern states, like Florida, California, or Georgia. Georgia being where Coca-Cola resides, their headquarters. So it's just, I don't know, it might not be as widely available as I think, but it's a terrific beverage. There's multiple varieties. Definitely pick up a Fresca if you encounter them. They also have hard Fresca, official hard Fresca, alcoholic Fresca, so lots of Fresca varieties. Apparently Sweet Green, a health food chain of fast food restaurants I've never been to. Apparently they have a drink called Fresca, but I don't think it's like the Coke Fresca. It seems like they're just like using the Fresca name. So that might not be real Fresca. All right, let's see here. Emperor Caleb Teen says, "Hey Doc, what's your go-to pub sub? Mine is Chipotle chicken." Now, it's weird. I live near so many Publixes, and like people are always talking about the pub subs. I've never had a pub sub. I'll try to do that tomorrow. I'll try to order online a pub sub from Publix and finally try a pub sub because I've never had one. Symbiotic Spider says, Fresca Wolfula sponsorship when? I guess I should stop. I don't know. I guess I should stop pimping out Fresca for free. But then again, I just love the product so much that I'm just going to be enthusiastic about it no matter what. All right, let's see here. Pop Culture Guy says, I have the Regal version of the AMC A-List subscription. Regal actually makes the number of movies you can see a month unlimited to live up to the name. Aw, fuck. probably should have went with Regal then. But then again, I have a few more AMC's near me. So there, and also the nearest theater to me is AMC, and I don't know if I'm necessarily gonna need to see unlimited movies, but that does sound like a better deal. I'm fucking stuck here, just watching 16 movies at the theater a month. Like fuck that. I want to see unlimited. I want to see as many as I want. AMC's got to step up their game. Like goddamn. The King of the Fat says thoughts on the Mandalorian and Grogu. I mean, my first thought is it has one of the worst titles for any movie I've ever heard. I don't know, I don't know why they had to add Grogu to the title. I guess to make it so people stop calling Baby Yoda and may have him be called by his actual name. But yeah, it's a very unwieldy title. It's a very shitty title. And it looks like a generic plot. It looks like they just, I guess, took the premise of a Mandalorian 4th season and just condensed it to a movie-length story. And, you know, I liked Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 okay enough. I will say, you know, the CGI Luke Skywalker, I have mixed feelings about because it doesn't look good. I mean, it's a cool moment where it's like, oh, Luke is here. It looks like shit, but yeah, it is a cool moment. But then Mandalorian Season 3, I don't know, it sucked. It really sucked. I watched it, and I can't remember what happened in it. I don't know what happened in Mandalorian Season 3. Like, I just don't know. I wish I could forget the shit that happened in Book of Boba Fett. I remember what happened in Book of Boba Fett. And that show really sucked ass. I was looking forward to that so much. I was like, whoa, a Boba Fett show. And it's like the shittiest, most generic show imaginable. Like, I was like, it made me hate Boba Fett, where he's just this boring do-gooder guy. Like, he becomes like the mob boss of Tatooine. And he's like, he wants to be respected through being a good guy. What? That's not Boba Fett. Boba Fett's a scumbag. Like, he's an asshole. But suddenly he's like, I want people to like me and shit. Like, where the fuck is this coming from? Like, that's not Boba Fett. Like, I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that. But then it also, there's like a whole episode of Book of Boba Fett that is just a Mandalorian episode that just bridges, like, just basically sets up Mandalorian Season 3, where it's like, it's so clear they did not give a shit about making a Boba Fett show. They just wanted to, I don't know, like, I guess buy some time until another Mandalorian season. Man, it really let me down. I will say Andor I really love, though. So that's a good Star Wars show. at least there's Andor. I still need to finish Andor Season 2. I loved Andor Season 1. I especially loved the Andy Serkis prison set of episodes. I still haven't gotten to K2SO's origin. Still gotta get there. I started watching Andor Season 2 on a really long flight. There's definitely a good, I guess there's definitely better circumstances to watch that, but it definitely helped kill some time, because it was like an 8-hour flight there and an 8-hour flight back when I finally needed to go home. All right. Brilly Ghost asks, do you like being associated with Scooby-Doo? I think it's very cool whenever anything Scooby happens, many people think of you. Oh yeah, like anytime there's like a new Scooby thing, I'll get like messages like where the message just says thoughts, and it is cool. You know, I definitely like having some kind of associations in people's minds with certain things. I feel like Scooby-Doo is just a much more frequently updated thing, because, you know, when they still were making new Halloween movies, that would be the case, because I'm also a huge Halloween fan, but there's not as much media with Halloween and some other horror franchises, but there's just so much Scooby-Doo media. Like, it's like an insane amount. It's crazy. The original series is just 25 episodes, but since they've just made hundreds and hundreds of like episodes of other sequel Scooby-Doo shows, and they've made like I think like maybe like 30, 40 fucking movies at this point, maybe even 50. There's lots of TV specials. There's just a lot of Scooby-Doo media. I would love to, like, cover it all someday. Oh, man. Oh, someday. Andrew Thomas says, what do you think of the lost epilogue for Dracula 1931 found and being remastered with Edward Van Sloan? I did check that out, and it's cool that it's finally available because it was just kind of the stuff of legends. I just remember my first, I guess, exposure to the original Dracula epilogue was Carla Laemmle, the late Carla Laemmle. When she was still alive, she hosted a Dracula featurette for the Dracula 1931 DVD, and she read Edward Van Sloan's epilogue for the original movie just to close out that featurette, and it always gives me chills. It's cool to finally be able to hear the original actor reading this, just kind of this once lost epilogue. And if you're not familiar with the epilogue, the original Dracula, when it was first released, featured something similar to Frankenstein's prologue, with Edward Van Sloan basically just reassuring the audience, see, what they just saw was just a movie. Don't worry. I mean, he basically implies that, yeah, Draculas could be real, you know, but you don't worry, it's just a movie. Like, there was this sense that these early Universal movies were just so shocking that, yeah, people would lose their fucking shit in the middle of watching them or going home or whatever. So it's cool to, like, have that element. It's not essential to the movie, but it's cool that it's finally, I guess, being, I don't know, I guess because I believe Dracula 1931 becomes public domain this year or next year or something like that. It becomes public domain soon. So I suppose another boutique label will finally re-release Dracula, you know, a complete Dracula with the Edward Van Sloan epilogue intact, because Universal has shown that once one of their things becomes public domain, they don't fucking care about it. They could care less. They couldn't care less about any of their public domain things. They've never released Phantom of the Opera, their original Phantom of the Opera, because it's been public domain. They released it, like, on VHS back when they still owned it, but now it's public domain, so they just never released their own, like, Blu-rays or DVDs or anything. They've released the remake with Claude Rains on home video, but they don't even bother to release the original as, like, a bonus feature on releases of the Claude Rains one, where it's just like, they don't give a shit. But, you know, other boutique labels have released Phantom of the Opera, for instance. But yeah, I imagine once Dracula goes public domain 1931 film, like, yeah, we're probably going to see less releases from Universal of it. Arlo the Duck says, Phantom has so many DVD releases. Yeah, it helps that it's public domain, much like Night of the Living Dead. It's gotten, there's so many fucking DVD releases. It's not even worth getting any of the other ones now that the Criterion one is out now, though. All right, let's see here. Sammyverse says, have you heard Curry Barker's statements about the Texas Chainsaw franchise? I truly think his movie will be great since he seems to understand the appeal of the original. I believe Curry Barker is the director of the upcoming movie Obsession, which I have reserved a ticket to see Obsession. I've been hearing good things about it, but he's going to, supposedly be directing the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, which, you know, I guess I haven't seen any of his movies yet, so I can't really say, but I don't know. I can't really get, like, hyped up about a Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing. There was, like, it's crazy. I was, like, you know, I love the Halloween trilogy, the recent Halloween trilogy, so I was, like, kind of, like, optimistic about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre following it up. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe like, these studios will get some people who understand how these things work. But no, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, yeah, it was my least favorite so far, and there have been some really bad Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, so, you know, I'll be, you know, I can't even say cautiously optimistic, because I feel like it might be a cursed franchise at this point, where even a gifted filmmaker can't figure out how to make a new Leatherface movie work. Like, I don't know, because Fede Alvarez had some credibility to him. He was the co-writer of the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I guess it says something that he didn't decide to direct it, though. He was like, Yeah, no, you could pay me to. I'll put a script. Me and my friend will put a script together. But we're not directing this thing. It's like a crazy here. All right. Night Fright Talk Show says, "Have you seen Scream 7? I still haven't seen it. I made a review of it, but I didn't actually see the movie. But you can check out the review. It seems like a lot of the things I said about the movie, I guessed, but apparently they were right. But yeah, no, I still haven't seen Scream 7. Okay, that's not true. I've seen Scream 7 3 times now. And you know what? Scream 7, it is a bad movie. I think it might be technically the worst one, but it might be one of the more fun sequels to watch. Like it's a fun bad movie. It also has a really good tie-in song that plays when when Tatum and her Ghostbusters friends are like walking to school or whatever. It's a really good song that plays. I added that to my Apple Music library. All right, let's see here. Acidic asks, "Hey Doc, have you ever played Dead by Daylight?" I have. And admittedly, I didn't play it under the best circumstances. I decided to play it a few times blind. For like live streams, and I just wasn't familiar with the gameplay. I thought I could just jump into it, but it definitely feels like a game I guess you need to take some time like figuring out and like familiarizing yourself with the mechanics. I'll maybe give it another shot at some point. It does seem like it is thriving in contrast to a lot of the exclusively licensed horror franchise asymmetrical games where, Friday the 13th, unlisted, it's still, I guess, playable in some form, I guess. Like, I could still download my copy and maybe play the single player stuff, but that's gone. Evil Dead game, you can still play it, but also unlisted. Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, still, it's still listed, but, they're not updating it. I think the servers are down, so now it's peer-to-peer, shit like that. But I will say Dead by Daylight, definitely going strong. Billy Zane asks, "Hey Doc, when's the Demon Knight review coming?" I'll try to get the Demon Knight review soon. I swear, Billy. Just got a lot of stuff I gotta do. It might be a good video if I have time. Might be a good video. Maybe, I don't know, it could be a good follow-up video after Junesters, Universal Monsters Month. Or it could be, if I have time, something I could sort of squeeze in before Junesters. Because, I definitely need to keep some Tales from the Crypt media alive on the channel. Just so hard to fit in so many different videos, though. All right, let's see here. Okay. No Cure for Death says, "Speaking of songs from the Scream soundtrack, the first song I ever learned to play on electric guitar was Dewey's theme." Oh, I love Dewey's theme. Da 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 da. Ah, man, I love the Dewey's theme. It always really just sets a tone for him. Okay, let's see here. Slasher8870 says, "Any thoughts on the Darkman films, Doc?" I've only seen the original with Liam Neeson. I heard the direct-to-video sequels were okay, but still haven't seen those. I love the original with Liam Neeson, though. It's it's just a cool take on a dark, gritty superhero film before, like, it became like a commonplace thing, where it's just like also an original concept for a superhero. It's not based on a pre-existing comic book in any form. So I appreciate Sam Raimi being like, well, I couldn't get the rights to Batman. I'll just create my own Batman with blackjack and hookers. Like, I gotta applaud a director, like, not just like fucking like, and eventually he did do Spider-Man, which it's definitely honestly, it's a bigger deal that, like, I'm sure he would have loved to do Batman, but doing Spider-Man was just such a bigger deal for him. So it's good that he got to do Darkman and then Spider-Man, because he definitely got to do his own thing. And also, pretty much establish for an entire generation what Spider-Man is in live action. There was like the 70s Spider-Man show, but like that's just like it doesn't really, I guess, get across who's like what Spider-Man really is. Like Spider-Man has a fucking belt on in that show. Like I don't know what the fuck. Like it's just not. And I guess there is also the Japanese, the Japanese giant robot Spider-Man show. But again, it's not quite what Spider-Man usually is. Though he does use a machine gun at some point, so that is pretty cool. Pop Culture Guy has a super chat. Thank you. Wolfula and chat, I have a kind of survey question. If Stephen King let video game and tabletop RPG companies touch his stories, what would be a good choice for a video game or a tabletop game? I mean, that's easy. That's got to be the Dark Tower series for sure. At least for like, especially for like a tabletop RPG. He's got like a whole like Middle Earth style world called Midworld. That's like it's got like Knights of the Round Table guys, but they're cowboy themed. So you got like different opportunities for classes. It's got like vampires and wizards and shit. So it's definitely riffing on medieval fantasy, but through an old west sort of vibe. But it also has like a multiverse element where you can go to other places. Like you could just find a door that opens to a different world. So there's lots of different possibilities for a tabletop RPG with the Dark Tower. But as far as a video game, I mean, Dark Tower would also be cool, but I feel like it's I don't know, it's just such I mean, it might be the best way to, I guess, adapt a massive work like the Dark Tower is with a video game, or at least like a video game that takes place in that world. But as far as like, I don't know, like I don't think Stephen King has ever made not made, but authorized like a video game based on any of his franchises that I can think of. So I don't know. It's kind of hard when there's not like I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess Firestarter. I guess like you play as a little girl who's got fire powers. I guess there's an opportunity there. You could maybe. I mean, if it was still the 90s and they were still making point and click adventure games with like video, like live action elements and shit like that, like a Sega CD game, you maybe do that with like The Shining, but something like The Seventh Guest, but at the Overlook Hotel, you do like a Seventh Guest clone. But I don't know, it's hard to like adapt a literary work to a video game, though, admittedly. I do appreciate that Clive Barker has like directly involved himself with video game projects, never really adapting any of his existing works, I don't think, just coming up with original ideas, at least up until this new Hellraiser game, though I'm not sure how involved Barker is with the new Hellraiser game. Because honestly, I don't even know how involved Carpenter is with the new Halloween game. They say he's an executive producer. I guess maybe he might be composing some music for it, but I don't know. I have no idea. All right, let's see here. Okay, Pop Culture Guy says, I heard Stephen King's actually refused the Dead by Daylight people when they asked King to use some of his monsters. Yeah, I kind of want to. I guess it would be funny to have like you have Jack from The Shining or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I guess Alan Wake, especially the original Alan Wake, it's a mix of like Twin Peaks and Stephen King. So it at least gets like some, I guess, a sense that you're playing as Stephen King to a certain degree. But yeah, I don't know how King feels about video games. He did authorize a Dark Tower point and click narrative game on his website that probably, I don't think it's online anymore. So I don't know how he feels necessarily about video games. I don't know if he's ever really said. I guess it would be kind of disappointing if he's like really against video games, I guess, but who knows. Now I'm going to take a little break again, just a minute break, so sit tight. I'm going to have some more Fresco while pre-recorded me gives the remaining shout-outs. Travirus wanted me to promote his black metal band Progenitor and their album Eldritch Supremacy up on Bandcamp and Spotify now. Give Progenitor a follow on Instagram today. Jane wanted me to give her husband Nate a shout-out for his band Dead Street Dreamers. You can follow them on Instagram now. Give them a listen. Subscribe and follow the Podmortem podcast for all your horror listening needs. They do weekly discussions of horror films, and they recently covered No One Lives. I can almost certainly guarantee that you will live after listening to their No One Lives podcast. Follow Scott Topic on Instagram as well if you want to check out some kick-ass horror memorabilia, including customized Michael Myers masks. The shape has never looked this good or collectible. Super Shag wanted me to give a shout out to his friend Tualise's indie animated series Overcoming Reality, which has recently announced its cast. Give Tualise a watch and subscribe now. They've got some amazing art. Finally, Lorenzo Antonino just wanted me to give him a shout out. Thank you for the support, Lorenzo. I really appreciate it. Alrighty, I'm back. Luck Was says, how about GTA, but you're Christine? I was thinking, like, possibly a Christine game, but I'm not totally sure how that would work. I guess it could be like that Jaws video game from the mid-2000s where you're just playing as the title character going on a rampage, just killing people. I mean, Christine kind of focused on, just kind of taking out her competition, her competition, the love interest of the main character and the bullies of the main character who vandalize her and shit, getting revenge. So you definitely would have to like construct ideally some story around Christine going on a rampage like that. But I think it would be honestly pretty fun. Pop Culture Guy says, I think Maximum Overdrive could make a fun multiplayer game where one set of players play the people and other players play the trucks and cars. I mean, they did make a Killer Clowns from Outer Space video game, so I could totally imagine, like, whoever owns the rights to Maximum Overdrive charge very little to license a asymmetrical game like that, where you're just playing like humans getting run over by haunted trucks and cars and shit. So, you know, there's some potential there. It's just kind of hard. I feel like you would have to like invent new stories within the world of a Stephen King story, because I feel like a lot of his books as is don't translate all that well to the video game media. All right. Sammyverse says, how far into the horror genre do you think the Clayface movie will go? I hope they push the body horror as far as possible. I think as far as horror, it's going to lean more into body horror, because it sounds like Clayface might be more of an anti-hero kind of character, where he is just getting revenge against those who wronged him. He's not like, I don't know. I that's my impression based on what I read. I could be totally wrong, but my impression is that he is just kind of taking out like mobsters and shit, where, you know, it'll be probably pretty gory. Like, I mean, it's an interesting approach, because it does feel like this new Clayface movie is a new Clayface, like there was a Clayface. This Clayface movie feels like it is mixing together a bunch of the, like, I guess 3 of the 4 original Clayfaces, where you have the movie star angle with the character formerly being an actor like Basil Carlo, the first Clayface, and then you have the Matt Hagen name, which, you know, of course, in the animated series, they, you know, made their Clayface Matt Hagen and made him a movie star like Basil Carlo, so they kind of mixed that together. But then you also have the Preston Payne Clayface 3, who basically he was kind of like an AIDS kind of metaphor, where he pretty much just melts. Like, he melts, so he has to make a suit. He's kind of like a Mr. Freeze suit. He's kind of like a Clayface mixed with Mr. Freeze, where he has to make this suit that keeps him solid. But in order to, I guess, reduce the pain or whatever, he has to spread his affliction. So he has this OP thing, Clayface 3, where whoever he touches melts. So they might do that thing where the Clayface in this movie, he touches people and they melt into just protoplasmic goo, which, you know, always made Clayface 3 pretty fucking scary to me. Where he's just like like Clayface 3, his origin is a little less I don't know, it's a little less traumatic and it's a little bit more he's just ugly, so he just wants to get this experimental drug that just makes him handsome. He can remold his face in any way, so it's not as tragic as the Clayface scene in this movie, who's based on the Matt Hagen of the animated series, where he is tragically just attacked or mutilated, and that's why he's kind of fucked up looking. With Preston Payne, he was just like, kind of just like, yeah, I'm just ugly. No one wants to fuck me, but if I take this drug, I can make myself look handsome. But it backfires because, yeah, he ends up being a melty guy who melts other people, and he definitely can't get laid. If actually, in one of the origin stories for Preston Payne Clayface, he's finally like on a date with like a total babe, but on the first date, he like, you know, grabs her arm, like he starts to melt, and then he grabs her arm and she melts and is instantly killed. He's definitely a very OP Clayface. It's kind of hard to use him because if he touches Batman, Batman's instantly fucking dead. So it's kind of hard to write stories. It's kind of like the impression people have about Superman, where it's like, when you got somebody this OP, it's kind of hard to come up with stories. It's not really the case with Superman. I guess not necessarily the case with Clayface 3, but I always felt like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, his main power is instantly killing people. So yeah, you kind of have to write around that a little bit to a certain degree, but it's very scary. All right, let's see here. Luck West says, I like when he was in the other Batman show, too. Yeah, something I appreciated about the Batman from 2004 was that they had two versions of Clayface, where usually, because in the comics, there's multiple Clayfaces. I think there's like 9 at this point. There's just so many Clayfaces. They tried to like simplify it with the Mud Pack event in the comics, where they had an event where all 4 Clayfaces team up, but Matt Hagen stayed dead. And it was basically just a ploy for the original Clayface to take all the powers of Clayface 3 and 4 to become the ultimate Clayface, because Clayface 1 didn't have powers. So it was like, okay, we'll simplify it. Now there's one Clayface, but now there's just like, there's still so many, like Clayface 3 and 4 fucked. So they had like a Clayface 5 named Cassius Clay, where it's just like, there's just so many Clayfaces. But it's something I liked about the Batman, where they had 2 Clayfaces. The initial one was Ethan Bennett, who is Batman's best friend, who's kind of like the show's version of Two-Face, like the best friend character who tragically becomes a villain. And he has like a very interesting arc. It's definitely a different approach. You know, the Batman had some mixed results as far as reimagining some of the villains, but I feel like Clayface was definitely one of their strongest reimaginings of the villains, because like Mr. Freeze was just, in the Batman cartoon, he was just like a bank robber who became like, tragically, a frozen guy, so he has to steal a suit or something. He's just not as interesting as the original animated series, but I guess I appreciate that they didn't, I guess, redo stuff from the animated series for the most part. I tried to do their own things, but then they had the second Clayface, is Basil Karlo, who was ironically the first Clayface. I appreciate that they at least tried to, I don't know, get across that, yeah, there's just multiple Clayfaces. Like, you don't really see that in any other media. They do try to keep things simple. I kind of wonder with the DC Universe if they're going to reveal that there are multiple Clayfaces like in the comics, because Clayface already appears in Creature Commandos. So I kind of wonder if he's the same Clayface that we're seeing in this new movie, or if he's a different Clayface, like if we're already at 2 Clayfaces in this live-action DC universe. I guess we'll see. Azaz says, didn't Clayface become a good guy at some point? I think that was from DC Rebirth era. I can't recall Clayface becoming a good guy, but then again, there's like a lot of more recent Batman lore that I'm just not familiar with. I'm a lot more familiar with, I guess, yeah, stuff from the original, like just the earliest era of Batman all the way to like the 80s and 90s. Still, I guess, vaguely familiar with more recent Batman stuff, but yeah, it's definitely more into the, not necessarily more into, but more familiar with the legacy lore. because like I got so many of those like Batman lore books that DK released. I even like because I would constantly check out from my library the DK Batman. I think I got it right now. Let me pick it up. All right, let me see. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, one of my favorite books to check out from the library was DK's Batman: The Ultimate Guide to the Dark Knight book, and it pretty much just covered comprehensively all of Batman's rogues gallery and his supporting characters and their lore from like the earliest era to up to like the 90s. So I just would read that like all the time, look up the stories, read the stories. Like just a great way to dive into the franchise. But now you have like easily accessible fandom Wikia articles, so you could just know whatever you want about DC lore. You don't need to check out a book from the library anymore, but man, the pictures are so nice. All right, let's find another question. Brady Wells says, I just hope they don't try and make Clayface a hero throughout like the Sonyverse. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be like I don't think he's gonna. I admittedly started watching Morbius. I couldn't finish it. It was just too good. I did admittedly finally watch Madam Web, though she's not a villain. That movie was definitely a piece of shit. Oh man, Madam Web, God, it's so bad. So yeah, I didn't see Craven. Yeah, but I think with I guess the difference with Clayface is he's still probably gonna have he might like have a villainous turn, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. But from what they've said, Batman does exist, so it at least has the leg up. Whereas the Sony Spider-Man universe, they just weren't using Spider-Man. Like they were just kind of, here's Craven without Spider-Man. Whereas with this Clayface thing, Batman might not show up in the Clayface movie, but they have said that yeah, it takes place in a universe that has Batman. So yeah, I don't know if like how it's gonna work out. So at least it's got that going for it. So if they, I guess, want to continue using this Clayface, he can segue into being a villain that Batman fights in some form. I mean, honestly, that could be what they're possibly setting up, where this Clayface, because like I don't know necessarily what the approach to the next Batman film is, but it seems like it might be a team up movie where it could be like Batman and the Outsiders, where it's like a dark Justice League sort of movie with Batman and Robin and some of the some darker heroes teaming up with him, and you know they could potentially fight some villains that have, I guess, already been introduced in various forms in this universe. So you know they have options for sure. I just don't know like what the arc of Matt Hagen in this new movie is gonna be. I guess we'll see. I would be interested in. I guess they might just make a franchise. They possibly might make a franchise out of Clayface, where they're like, here's Clayface 2 and Clayface 3. He never meets Batman. I hope he meets Batman, though. Oh, man. I hope he meets Batman, and he... like that's honestly just one of my dream Batman movies, is a movie where he's fighting Clayface, where Clayface is the villain, because Clayface is just such a cool villain. Like, he's also a unique villain that Nolan and Reeves definitely would never a villain that Reeves and Nolan would never touch. So there's definitely an opportunity for the more super-powered villains to finally shine in this DC universe, where it could just be Batman, the DC Universe Batman, just exclusively fighting like Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Clayface, like the crazier, more super-powered villains that kind of mostly just got campier portrayals in previous media. Zachary asks, have you seen the Penguin series, Doc? I did. I really enjoyed it. I might rewatch it at some point closer to the Batman 2's release, because, yeah, I mean, they finally started shooting the Batman 2. It only took 4 years. They finally shooting Batman 2. But yeah, I really like the Penguin show. I was surprised by like how dark and mature it was compared to the Batman show, because Batman is still firmly a PG-13 movie, but yeah, that Penguin show goes into some hard R territory. All right, let's see here. Symbiotic Spider says a Nolan versus Clayface would have been interesting. Yeah, I do. I don't know. I am interested in the idea of like if Nolan was forced to use certain villains, like what he would have done with them. If given like if he was like he had to use Clayface but had creative control, like what his like solution to a Clayface would be. Because Clayface, like he definitely avoided superpowers. So you wouldn't have a superpowered Clayface. It would have to be like the original Basil Carlo first appearance Clayface, where it's like a guy in like a Clayface mask killing people or something like that. It would have to be like Nolan was a lot more comfortable with mob bosses and terrorist kind of guys, and not so into the superpowered folks. So yeah, I don't really know how a Clayface could work and be compelling in a Nolan film. All right, let's see. Luck West asks, have you seen the Amazon Prime Batman the Animated Series reboot? Well, I guess that's a misconception about that Amazon Prime Batman cartoon, is that it doesn't have anything to do with the animated series. It's not a reboot or anything like that, or a reimagining. It's just its own thing. It does look similar to the animated series, but I think that's just Bruce Timm's involvement with it. The concept of the Amazon Prime show is just, well, it's just an animated show that takes place when Batman first appeared in the 1930s, early 40s, where I don't know, it has an interesting idea where it is a very serious, grounded take, and they had a Clayface episode that had like a clever combination of the classic Clayface and the Matt Hagen Clayface, where the Clayface of the story is a killer, but he basically wears a mask that can like change his face. He's kind of a limited version of Clayface, but it was cool to see like a more classical version of Clayface instead of the mud monster transforming guy that has become pretty much the norm, like the only version we've seen in other media. It was cool to see like something close to the first appearance of Clayface. But yeah, I don't know. The issue with the the Amazon Prime Batman show is that it just, I don't know, it just kind of looks bland, like, and it just kind of has some more limited animation than the original animated series. It just kind of, I don't know. I would like to see more, especially since they set up the Joker, and it seems like it's going to be a Joker like the first appearance Joker, where the Joker in the first appearance of Batman is a pretty chilling character. He's kind of an ironic character where he's like, he looks like a clown, but he's very serious. Like it's a kind of cool juxtaposition of his appearance and his how he actually acts. He's very kind of, I don't know. There's kind of something eerier about that first appearance of Joker and Batman #1. So I would be interested in seeing that in an animated show. But yeah, I don't know. The Prime Batman show, I just had mixed feelings about it. I just kind of found it mostly sort of boring. But it was cool to see this early era of Batman adapted in another media. I feel like the issue with a lot of DC's animated movies and shows now is that it's just so samey. Like, it doesn't feel like I don't know. It feels like they just have this consistent style, and they're kind of going through the motions, animating it, but, whatever. Manuel says, love you, Rachel from Chiloquin. I don't know what that means, but I love you too, Rachel. Okay, all right, let's see here. Jake Schuster says, a subdued Joker might be interesting. Yeah, it really just says something that there is so many different versions of Joker. Like, even from the first appearance, there isn't like a consistent concept of what the Joker is, because like he just was constantly changed from appearances based on whatever the story needed from him. I wish there were more just throwaway Joker stories. It seems like in the comics, anytime they have the Joker, it's got to be this massive tie-in event where it's like it ties in all the different Batman comics together, where it's Joker doing the most fucked up thing yet or whatever, where it's like, yeah, can't he just like rob a bank or something? Like, I don't know, like just something a little more small time. I will say I read Three Jokers, and I was looking forward to that for some time. I like read it as it was coming out, and I just got so disappointed by it. Oh God. I really hope Three Jokers isn't canon, because I don't know. It had like an interesting idea, but it didn't really have, I don't know, like where there's three Jokers. There are literally they reveal that there have been three Jokers the whole time, just working independently, but now they decide to team up, and like they have the Joker who's like the serious Joker from the first appearance, and then they have like a more comical, campier Joker, and then they have a Joker that's like the Joker that's just much more violent and deranged and psychotic and stuff, where it's like, okay, I don't know, there's something there in a meta sort of way, but, and it's just like, yeah, it doesn't go anywhere interesting. It's just like, as far as it goes, it's just, yeah, there's just three Jokers. Yeah, that's all the story has going for it. And it like tries to set itself up as being like the Killing Joke, where it's just like, yeah, this is not anywhere near as good as Killing Joke, where it tries to have like the same narrative format as Killing Joke. But yeah, I don't know. Three Jokers sucked. Oh God, really did not like Three Jokers. All right. Azaz says, I thought Three Jokers was The artwork by Jason Fabok is amazing though. That's the one thing I liked about Three Jokers, is it did look great. It looked amazing. Like it was awesome. Tucker Lee says, it's not Doc. They already retconned it. Oh, thank God. Yeah, that comment sucked. I don't like the idea there were three Jokers that whole time. Oh, God. I honestly prefer the Grant Morrison concept of Joker is just constantly just revamping himself, like reinventing himself. Where, you know, he wants to stay with the times. He wants to stay fresh like any comedian should. So he's just constantly changing his whole vibe. Brady Wells has a super chat. Who wins? Batman's whole rogues gallery versus Curious George. Thank you for the super chat. Man, that's a tough one. I mean, I guess I'm trying to think. I don't, there's Gorilla Grodd in the DC universe, but I don't believe, and there's also Monsieur Mala, who is an enemy of the Doom Patrol. But yeah, Batman, I can't think of a Batman villain who's gorilla-based. I do know Joker at one point in the comics befriends a gorilla, and the gorilla becomes one of his henchmen. So Joker at least has a gorilla. I guess I don't know, because I feel like monkeys just, they're very tenacious. I feel like Mr. Freeze, for instance, does not stand a chance against Curious George for obvious reasons I don't need to elaborate on. Same thing with Poison Ivy, monkeys swing from vines after all. Poison Ivy can't all the vines she throws at Curious George, she just does not fucking stand a chance. Two-Face, while he's flipping the coin, Curious George has already cut his head off. It's just no contest. Yeah, definitely Curious George just totally beats out all the villains. I guess it's possible the Joker could befriend Curious George, like he's already befriended a gorilla in the past. But yeah, I just can't see I can't see Curious George being bested by any of Batman's very, very powerful enemies. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I guess I just got to go with Curious George. That's going to be my call there. All right. Pop Culture Guy says, Jeff Johns is a very hit or miss writer. I think his only Marvel contribution, his Avengers run, really optimizes this in a lot of similar ways Doomsday Clock did. Doomsday Clock was another comic I was looking forward to. It seems like he has some interesting premises, but he doesn't really take them anywhere. I don't know. I'm a huge Watchmen fan. It's my favorite comic, but yeah, I will say Doomsday Doomsday Clock looked great. A great art style. Just Gary Frank's art is just some of the best art ever. He can't really draw kids. If you've seen his kid version of Superman, it does just look like Christopher Reeve with like a giant head. Like it just, but otherwise, Gary Frank is great. It's just a great art style. But yeah, his Doomsday Clock was just very disappointing, and it's also just, I don't. It's just so stupid that the Watchmen characters enter the DC universe. It's like the worst like possible idea. Like the thing Alan Moore, just like the thing that Alan Moore is just like just the worst thing Alan Moore could possibly like expect them to do with Watchmen. They did it. Like, yeah, it's just like, here's Dr. Manhattan fights Superman, or it's just like, and like Superman teaches Dr. Manhattan to be a human again or some bullshit where it's like, oh god, this sucks, man. But it looked cool though. It did look cool. Very cool comic, at least appearance wise. All right. It'd be like, it's great because it's like, you know, Dave Gibbons' art in Watchmen is amazing, but it's like, yeah, it's the Alan. It'd be like if like Alan Moore wrote the shittiest possible story for Watchmen, but Dave Gibbons' art is awesome. It'd be like that, where it's like, yeah, it's just kind of funny. Like, I don't know. It's kind of funny to think that alternate version. Jake Schuster says, did you like the Watchmen movie or TV show? I really loved the TV show, except for the Dr. Manhattan makeup in the in like the final couple episodes. It definitely felt like they cheaped out. They ran out of money or something, because yeah, Dr. Manhattan did not look good. I like the concept of, I guess, what they did with Dr. Manhattan. I thought Yahya Abdul-Mateen was, he had a very good voice for Dr. Manhattan. I felt like his performance really fit the character. But I wish they at least also just showed Dr. Manhattan when he was still like a Jewish guy before he becomes a black guy. Where it's just like, it felt like, all right, we like it felt like they were really just, he's like a black guy now. Don't worry about what he used to look like. Like it was like the neighbor from Home Improvement, just like hiding his original face anytime they could. I wish I got to see, I guess, what a live-action, more comic-accurate Dr. Manhattan could have looked like. But at the same time, it looked like shit. Like, I don't know, the makeup wasn't very good. But the show ultimately was good. I like that they didn't try to remake the original comic. They just kind of looked at what the world is like today and just commented on it like the original Watchmen in just a different setting. As for the Snyder movie, you know, I don't know. It definitely follows the plot of Watchmen, but I feel like Snyder didn't quite grasp a lot of the themes. But you know, I feel like I don't know. It's definitely there's a lot of like irony of there's a lot of irony of Snyder's version of Watchmen, where he really plays into the violence. It feels like he glorifies it more, whereas the original Watchmen, kind of a commentary on how superheroes, these vigilantes just beating up people like without any overarching, like it felt like Snyder was like totally into the idea of like these superheroes, whereas Watchmen is very critical of it. The original comic is like, no, if these heroes existed, this would be terrible. Like it would be even worse than how things are now. But I felt like Snyder was like, you know, I don't know. I would love it if Rorschach was around and beating up, like burning down buildings and shit like that. Like, I don't know. Like, especially, Snyder didn't burn down the building like in the comic. He cut the guy's head like it was like a slasher movie. He grabbed a cleaver and cut that pedophile guy's head open and shit. Where it's like, no, like, it's more brutal to like leave that guy in a burning building and have him burn alive than just instantly kill him with a cleaver. Like, I don't know, like it was like Snyder just being like, it's got to be gorier and more brutal. Like, I don't, yeah, I got mixed feelings about the Watchmen movie. But I guess it's better than the recent animated movies of Watchmen that Warner Brothers came out with that just do not look good at all. Like I bought them, I watched them. It just yeah, I mean they follow the plot more closely, but yeah, it's just a very bland adaptation of the original comic. It feels like it's just Warner Brothers just still greenlighting Watchmen things just to slight Alan Moore so he can't get the rights to Watchmen ever again. But oh well. But Pop Culture Guy says, I loved how the HBO series mocked Zack Snyder's violence through American Hero Story. Yeah, they said that they weren't really parroting Snyder, but yeah, the American Hero Story robbery sequence and also just the monologues, the gritty monologues, definitely felt like they were making fun of the Snyder movie, especially with the slow motion shit, where it's and also the ultra violent hero. Like, yeah, I don't know. I appreciated that to a certain degree for sure. My video maker says, "Did you see the Malcolm in the Middle revival? Thank you for the super chat." Yeah, I didn't see it. I might see it. I did. I enjoyed Malcolm in the Middle back in the day, but I just kind of wonder how much appeal Malcolm in the Middle would have today, especially when the kids are all adults. Like, I feel like that was the appeal of the original show, is like just I guess seeing a much more, I guess, relatable sort of family dynamic where the families just kind of, they're all like, they're all, like, it's a very dysfunctional family, like to an insane degree. And the brothers are all just like shitty to each other too. And like they're like and like they're struggling financially and stuff like that. I kind of wonder how much of I kind of just heard mixed feelings about it, where it's just like, yeah, it's kind of cute to see them all these years later. But yeah, admittedly I don't have like a lot of streaming. I don't have any streaming subscriptions currently, so I'm not like binging a lot of shows or anything like that. Like the only show I'm watching right now is Munsters for the Munsters month next month. I just gotta watch Munsters. That's it. I'm not watching anything else. I'm just watching 24/7 Munsters. All right. DJ Frizzy says, "Good evening, Doc. Did you end up watching the Green Band or extra gory Red Band Evil Dead Burn trailer?" I honestly don't know. There wasn't like a Red Band before the trailer I got. I mean, I don't know. It seemed like I don't know. It seemed like there was some gore, but yeah, I guess we might have watched the Green Band trailer. Fuck. I hope not. All right, let's see here. Let's see. What's the next question? Let's see. Pop Culture says, but that was clearly a lie, right? Lindelof was clearly lying to spare Zach's feelings, right, about the Watchmen parody in the Watchmen show. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to Lindelof's new Lantern show, but yeah, I feel like it's gonna be like it's gonna be like the Watchmen show, where there's gonna be a lot of people not even willing to give it a shot, because like yeah, they definitely, with the Lantern show, they definitely have some kind of approach to it where it's something that a lot of people are initially not going to like, where it's very grounded in reality, whereas Green Lantern himself is a crazy concept. It's this guy who he gets a magic ring from some space aliens that allows him to like make whatever like green construct of light he could just make real. Like, it's a crazy idea. But yeah, this Lantern show looks like it's very serious and realistic, but I feel like that's just how they get you into that world, because the trailer also has Hal Jordan reference the fact that there's a squirrel Green Lantern, where yeah, all this crazy shit exists, but we're kind of focusing on this more relatable human story, this relatable human perspective to humanize Green Lantern more. So, because we it takes place in the DC universe, so which is kind of weird, because Hal Jordan says he's the only Green Lantern from Earth, but Guy Gardner has already been shown in that Superman movie. But I guess it's possible that Guy Gardner, I guess maybe went rogue in order to found the the Justice Gang in the Superman movie. Because there was this period where Hal Jordan, not where Guy Gardner, wasn't really even officially a Green Lantern anymore. He was just fucking Guy Gardner for a while. So who knows? I guess how they're gonna. Apparently, Guy Gardner appears in the show too. So they'll have like a guy with a goofy haircut. It seems like they're definitely doing the Watchmen thing, where they're kind of grounding it in some sense of reality, but then they weave in weird shit, weird Green Lantern shit. And when you do that, when you have something that's mostly kind of grounded in reality, and then you introduce some crazy weird shit, like with Twin Peaks, for instance, or X-Files or whatever, then the weird shit really like stands out more. Then it's like it feels more special than just it's all weird shit all the time. Like I think that's going to be an interesting approach to something like Lanterns, but who knows? I don't know. We'll see. All right. Okay, let's see. It's funny. I also I need to mention that the director of the Lantern show is also coincidentally the director of the Shadow Zone movies that Goulash has been covering. So you get to see, I guess, how the director of the Lantern show, how he got started. All right. All right, let's see here. Okay, so Brilly Ghost asks, what did you think of the Brady Bunch movies? The creator of the OG series, Sherwood Schwartz, almost made a Gilligan's Island film in that same style. I mean, I definitely love the Brady Bunch movies. It's been a while. They used to rerun all the time on Comedy Central. I actually got a double feature pack of the movies on DVD, but I haven't rewatched it recently. But yeah, I thought it was like a funny idea because where it's just the concept of it is just, well, what if the Brady Bunch were just exactly the same, just of their time sitcom? What if they were just the same, like in the 90s? Like we're just like highlighting how fucking weird and artificial the Brady Bunch seem, and how like super positive they are. Like, because that was just what sitcom families were like in the 70s. It would be funny to do that with like Full House, where it's just like this ultra positive family with their own ideas of morality and shit. You bring them into the present day and just kind of highlight how fucking weird they were. Netflix like rebooted Full House and just made it like just a sincere reboot. But yeah, they should have been like, yeah, this family was fucking weird. Like, I don't know. Like, there needs to be more shit like that. Just kind of like commenting on like how fucking absurd a lot of old sitcoms were. All right. Luckwest says, did they properly end Gilligan's Island? Were they rescued or are they dead? I guess it'd be funny if like if they made like a new Gilligan's Island and they found the corpses of the original Gilligan's Island cast members. But yeah, I think they eventually got off the island in a made-for-TV movie. But I don't know. I guess I need to brush up on my Gilligan's Island lore. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched Gilligan's Island. Brady Will says they did get off the island, but they hated how the world had changed, so they went back to the island. Oh man, that's some social commentary there. I mean, I don't blame them. It seemed like they had a good thing going for them on that fucking island. They had like, they had like an irrigation system made with coconuts and shit like that. Like, it's just get a lot more shit done on that island than fucking living in the USA. I'll tell you that much. You don't have to worry about inflation and shit like that or gas prices. Everything's on the fucking island, and the island looked nice. Why would you want to leave the island? Like, I don't know why they were even trying. The island looked like it ruled. TJ Frizzy says there was a TV movie, Rescue from Gilligan's Island. The original Ginger didn't want to do it. Then a second TV movie had them open up a resort on the island. I always think it's funny when there's like a special reunion thing and they get everybody except like one cast member as a holdout and just doesn't do it. I like the Futurama episode where they got the whole cast except Scotty. Scotty did not want to come back for whatever reason, just do a voice. Probably like say 5 lines in this Futurama episode. So they just replaced him with a character named Welshie, which ultimately worked better. But it's just funny when it's just like, what? Scotty said no? Like, Yeah, I guess it's like not the end of the world. The main guys you need to get are fucking Nichelle Nichols, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy. Like, but Scotty was the one who said, like, oh my god. Um, Brady Wells asks, "How did you feel about MASH the series?" I mean, yeah, I loved MASH. It's definitely one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. I honestly, for a while, I thought it would be a funny April Fool's gag to 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 introduce MASH Mondays to make it seem like I'm going to cover every MASH episode. Um, like just to do a April Fool's gag like that, or Monster Mash, where it's like a monster reviewing MASH episodes or something like that. But yeah, I do love MASH the show. It's definitely very different from the Robert Altman movie. If you haven't seen the Robert Altman movie, which a lot of people just watch the show and have like no idea what the book or the Altman movie were like. The Altman movie's a lot grittier. They actually show the surgeries and show blood and stuff. There's a lot more overt racism too, especially in the book. They, of course, I mean, the show still had Spear Chucker, at least for this first season, who, you know, Spear Chucker is a strange character because he's clearly, like, his nickname is supposed to be kind of racist, but the movie kind of says, no, he just threw the javelin in college. But it feels like he only exists to have just this, I guess, racist-sounding nickname for a surgeon. But it's like he's also historically inaccurate because there were no black surgeons in the Korean War. So, like, it's just it's strange that MASH was based on the experiences of Richard Hooker. It was just also just kind of making shit up, like just like just kind of being a little racist too at the same time. The show sanitized a lot of the edgier stuff from the movie, but I honestly really love the movie. It definitely has a different vibe. The characters are not lovable at all. Elliot Gould, I do love Elliot Gould's Trapper John. I also just love the configuration of the original movie and book MASH, where in the original movie and the book, like, Trapper John is supposed to be the alpha male. He's supposed to be the coolest surgeon. He becomes the head surgeon. Everybody looks up to him. And, you know, the Hawkeye, who's based on the author, he's just kind of more of a nerd, where he's just kind of a sidekick to Trapper John. But in the show, I guess they decided Hawkeye just sounded like a cooler name because, they make Hawkeye the cool guy and make Trapper John the sidekick, and to the point where even Hawkeye becomes the head surgeon on the show. Or it's like, I don't know, it's kind of funny how it's just, I guess, just based on the casting of Alan Alda is just pretty much how they made that decision, I guess. But yeah, I honestly do prefer the idea of just Trapper John, because Trapper John, I don't know, especially Elliot Gould's Trapper John, he's so fucking cool. Yeah, you got to make that guy the head surgeon. Like, come on. All right. There is going to be some references to MASH, at least in the Munsters Today video coming next month, because the actor who plays Herman Munster in Munsters Today played the Painless Pole in the original MASH movie. The Painless Pole, he was a dentist at the MASH unit who was afraid that he was gay, so he was going to commit suicide because he's gay. And you, but then, like, they get him laid, and I guess he decides he's not gay anymore. But yeah, he plays Herman Munster in the '80s Munsters show. But I also, a little trivia is that the Painless Pole in the original MASH, he apparently is the first actor in a major Hollywood movie to say fuck in a movie. Apparently, you know, outside of like some smaller films, there wasn't like a studio film where an actor said fuck. I don't know how true that is, because it seems weird, like, by 1970 there wasn't another movie that said fuck at any point. But I don't know. I'll trust what I read online for now, I guess. All right, let's read another question. Let's see here. I could talk about MASH fucking forever. I was like, how do you feel about MASH? Ethan says, MASH? You mean the prequel to After MASH? Yeah, I really wish After MASH went on as long as MASH. Yeah, man, that would have been great if it was just 11 seasons of this VA clinic, like the like three of the characters running a VA clinic. Oh man, that would have been great. I really wish the MASH finale gave us like at least a little epilogue where it's Hawkeye and Trapper John and BJ all together, like playing golf, like the opening of the pilot of MASH, where it's like, oh yeah, they're finally back home, and Hawkeye's with his two bros at the end. We get to find out what's up with Trapper John. We get to revisit Trapper John at least a little bit, because Trapper John leaves in season like at the end of season 3, like around the same time as McLean Stevens left. They killed off McLean Stevens' character, but with Trapper John, they were just like, yeah, he just left. Yeah, we're not gonna give him an episode. He left off screen. All right. Zachary asks, was there any Munsters movies outside of the Rob Zombie one? The original Munsters had 2 movies. There was the 1966 film Munster Go Home, which was essentially an unofficial finale to the series. It was the last time most of they kept recasting Marilyn Munster. So Marilyn is recast twice in the she's recast once in the series and again for that movie. But besides that, there was also a TV movie called Munsters Revenge, which was a reunion movie in an attempt to reboot the Munsters and bring back most of the original cast for a new Munsters show. That didn't go well, so then they settled on doing Munsters Today, which completely recast the actors and was bad. But then there was also Munsters. Here Come the Munsters was released in '95 for the Fox network. I just know this shit off the dome, but yeah, Here Come the Munsters was another made-for-TV movie, completely recast it, but that was a bit better than Munsters Today, at least. And then there's the Christmas movie, Munsters Scary Christmas, which scarred me for life. Like Santa gets turned into he gets turned into a fruitcake, which is just, I don't know, just the idea of voring Santa, like the threat of Santa getting vored because someone didn't know he was a fruitcake. It's just, I don't know, it's just unsettling. Like, and he's also sentient through it all. So he's like aware that he's a fruitcake during the whole experience. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's just a crazy body horror thing to have in a Munsters movie. But then that, they had like the Mockingbird Lane pilot, though that's not a movie. But then, of course, they did the Rob Zombie Munsters. There hasn't been like a great successful Munsters revival that's had like a lasting cultural impact, unfortunately. As I guess pointed out by another person in the chat, that the classic Monsters don't have as much universal appeal across generations, unfortunately, compared to Addams Family, which they're not like stuck in a specific time. They're just like a goth family, so they don't have like the baggage of being based on 1930s horror movie tropes. So Addams Family has just had much more successful revivals. But yeah, I love a Munsters Renaissance. Somebody like who's actually capable, like not Rob Zombie, like an actual like because it's funny, like I've been rewatching Munsters, and Rob Zombie's Munsters is like a horrible fucking prequel. Like it's completely inconsistent with like the lore. It's like Rob Zombie making up fan fiction, like his idea of a Munsters origin. It's like a totally inconsistent with the backstories of the characters in the show. It feels like he didn't even watch the show. It's fucking insane. And he clearly did. He's like a huge fan. Like he made a fucking song called Dragula based on Munsters, like based on the fucking car that Grandpa drives. But it's just so insane that because they mentioned that Herman and Lily have been married for 100 years. They have their 100th anniversary. So they got married in 1866. But in the Rob Zombie movie, they get married in more modern times, and it's weird. Like when they come to America, when they move from the old country, it's like just modern day. Like it's kind of weird. Like Actually, no. I think I'm getting it mixed up. I think it does take place in the 60s. The Rob Zombie 1, but then they also mention, but at the same time, they move in the 60s, but they should be married for 100 years at that point. I guess maybe there's a time jump. That Rob Zombie movie is just so disorganized. It has like no real story. There might be some shit because it's hard to really even say what the story is. It feels like just a series of events, and then they just move into their house, and that's it. Like, it's kind of hard to say. But then also, like, Herman mentions being a war veteran in the original show, but like that's not really depicted. He's depicted as like a rock star, like an attempted rock star. So it feels like it is Rob Zombie just kind of telling the story of his marriage to Sherry Moon Zombie through the Munsters. It's just kind of a weird thing. Like it's like a weird autobiographical Munsters film. Like it's kind of just strange, but oh well. Well, I'll discuss it and in great detail in the final Munsters video next month. I'll make sure I have my shit figured out because I that Munster. I mean, I watched the Rob Zombie Munsters recently, and it's a total blur. But I did also watch Rob Zombie's commentary on his Munsters movie, and it was mostly just like I don't know. It was kind of him just talking about how great it was to shoot it in Hungary. Like all the Hungarian crew members weren't bitching and complaining. Like they were just all willing to do whatever unreasonable demands he had for them, where it's like, yeah, okay. He didn't really have like a lot of like explanations for his creative choices, because at least of this Halloween commentaries, he would at least like explain some of the things he did. It felt like I don't know, it felt like Homer Simpson in that Simpsons episode, Homer's Enemy, where Homer enters a child's diorama fair for the nuclear power plant, and like Mr. Burns is just like, can you explain your model, young man? Like it's just like he didn't have like a lot of I guess depth in his like choices for that Munsters movie. It just felt like a thing that he wanted to do for a while, but then when he got it, he was like, oh shit, I don't know what to do with this thing, actually. I just like Munsters. Like, fuck, I didn't think they'd actually give me the rights to do this thing. Fuck. All right. I guess I'll just, I don't know, I'll just get my friends and we'll, shoot this thing in Hungary for very little money, and, hopefully I'll be making other movies soon. It's his last movie to date. Might be his last movie ever. I guess we'll see. All right. Jake Schuster asked, did you like the Mockingbird Lane TV pilot? I still haven't seen that. I will definitely be seeing it for next month, so keep an eye out. I got it, at least on my hard drive. I made sure to acquire a bunch of Munsters things. All right. Brady Will says, knowing his fate. Oh, wait. Pop Culture Guy says, knowing his fate, the episode where Colonel Blake is watching a home movies reel of his family sent by his family made it so much sadder than how it was even originally intended to be. Yeah, there's lots of pathos with MASH. I definitely, especially rewatching it, I definitely recommend MASH. If you guys haven't seen MASH, you're missing out. You gotta watch MASH. You gotta go on MeTV and watch some MASH. All right, I'm gonna find. Okay, so Sylviette says, have you reviewed Reanimator? I would love to review it at some point, but yeah, it's definitely. I just keep like setting it aside for other things. I'll try to fit it in somewhere. I guess, I have been increasingly doing much more themed things lately. So it's like, it's fun to do that. It's fun to like create little storylines and stuff and invent locations. But yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes to fit some things in when I'm heavily doing a theme thing to like fit something into a theme. I'll try to make Reanimator work soon, though. Pop Culture Guy says, sounds like Zombie is either intentionally avoiding talking about how dissatisfied he was with his own final product or lacks critical introspection skills. I mean, Rob Zombie, he doesn't, like, you would think he would have like an ego. Like he's definitely not a guy who's like my movies are like the best things ever or anything like that. He definitely doesn't want to necessarily, I guess, shit on his own movies or anything like that. But it's just yeah, I don't, I feel like with his other movies, it's much more of a, it's kind of just this subjective thing where you either like his vibe or you don't. But with his Monsters movie, it's much more, it just kind of fundamentally doesn't work all that well as a movie because it doesn't have like a real overarching premise or villain or anything. It's just kind of a series of things. It's just Herman courting Lily, and then they get married, and then they move to the United States, and then that's it. Like, it doesn't even end with them fucking and producing Eddie or anything. They don't even set up Marilyn. I feel like you could definitely make a Munsters movie that's also a prequel that could also be Rob Zombie-fied and definitely work. I was even thinking, oh yeah, they could have made like a prequel where it's like in the 19th century, but somehow in this Transylvania zany world they come from, they have like drag racers, and Herman's like a young, Herman and Lily are young adults, and they're like, they, you know, he's like Lily's with like a vampire guy drag racer, and Herman has to like win her affections by beating that guy in a race or some shit. Like, just, I don't know, like having some more dynamic, interesting prequel approach than just, yeah, no, Lily, I mean, Herman sees Lily while he's performing at a rock show, and they go on some dates, and then they get married, and then they just move to the United States. Or it's like, yeah, that's not an interesting concept for a movie. You could also just do a movie where it's like, well, what if Eddie grew up and he decided to repress his monstrous roots, and he brings his like bride to be to meet his parents, and he finally embraces his monsterhood. Like, I was something like just more interesting concepts for movies than just a series of events. Like, I don't, it's a very strange Munsters movie where it felt like like somebody's first movie. Like, they don't understand like the structure of a film. Like, there needs to be some kind of conflict to keep people interesting and have like some central focus on like, it's just, it was so weird. Like, it's such a weird Munsters movie. TJ says, Doc, how do you feel about how fast movies are coming out on streaming? Should companies wait like they used to do? I thought Ready or Not 2 just came out, but it's already available. Yeah, I think, I don't know, the issue with that really bites them in the ass is that it just makes shit so much easier to pirate. Like, you could just pirate this recently released theatrical film, like, very easily. Like, you know, I saw The Drama in theaters, and I really enjoyed that movie. But like, just a few days after I saw it, it was already like, you know, just the actual Blu-ray quality version of it was already on like fucking torrenting sites. I feel like it's definitely in their best interest to do focus more on theatrical distribution, because you at least create some kind of barrier, because not a lot of people are going to want to watch like cam recordings of movies when they torrent it. So they'll be like, well, I want to see this movie in good quality, and it's in theaters for a while. I guess, you know, I guess I'll see it like this. Whereas like now you just like release something, you know, on streaming super quickly. Yeah, it's definitely eating into their bottom line, because it just makes it super easy to pirate. Like, you know, Netflix releases a whole show, it's already on a torrent site. Like, it's not and the ironic thing is that streaming has become, it's such a popular thing. Everybody streams. It's like the main way people watch movies and shows now, but it's not profitable. Like, none of these streamers are making money. They're not making a profit anyway. Like, Netflix is just like kind of limping along based on the fact that it's the biggest streamer, for instance, but it's constantly having to raise its prices because it's just not making, like, it's not making a profit at all. Like, they're like bleeding money. They're like, they don't have the pre-existing back catalog that a lot of these legacy networks have, so they have to like constantly make new things, but at like an extreme pace, for instance. But they're like spending more money than they actually have, and it's just not sustainable. Like I just kind of wonder, like when there's just going to be this implosion, like I don't know. It just feels like it can't really last. I feel like at least with the theatrical exhibition, it was, well, this is the only way you could see a new movie, or like a new movie worth watching. There could be like a made-for-TV movie, but it would look like a show. It'd be cheap, and that would also just be sustainable. Now they're also making like super expensive movies that don't make any money, that just go straight to a streaming thing, and it's just, I don't know. It's like not a good business plan, at least on their side. I'm sure like people who exclusively stream, though, they're just like happy they don't have to like leave their house, at least, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see like a really great future if we continue to go in this direction exclusively. All right. Pop Culture Guy says streaming is a cul-de-sac where projects go to die. You cannot make a profit unless you do theatrical releases first or put on cable first. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's they like Netflix keeps injecting like ads into their plans too. Like even Amazon Prime, like it used to be, oh yeah, you got Amazon Prime, here's the streamer. But now they also play ads during the stuff that you can stream, so you have to pay extra to remove the ads. Or it's just like, but yeah, even with the ads, they're not making money. It's just like, like they keep trying to come up with new, I guess, ways, and usually those new ways are just increasing the prices and adding more ads. But yeah, it's just not sustainable. Like they're just not making any fucking money. It's crazy. It's honestly wild. Zachary says, or in the Avatar movies cases, before the trailer even released. Okay, I don't know what that's specifically referencing, but I mean, the Avatar movies took a while to now Avatar 3 is they at least, it seemed like they waited at least 4 or 5 months to make Avatar 3 available streaming. I do appreciate James Cameron and Nolan and some other filmmakers who are very strict about, yeah, this fucking thing is gonna be in theaters as long as possible. It's gonna have its full theatrical run before you can put this on streaming. Like I can't stress this enough, because it also makes it feel more like an event where it's like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to see this anytime soon any other way. So you better see this in theaters if you want to be part of the conversation. That's another thing where it's like, you know, you want these movies to feel like big events where you don't want to, like, that's part of the appeal of like, oh, I got to see this in theaters. Like, I need to know all the references to shit going on, like what people are referencing in pop culture. I need to be part of this conversation. I can't just read the Wikipedia article or wait for it to come out to streaming or video or whatever. Like, you know, you got to have this like sense of, you got to see this in theaters. Like, that's definitely a winning strategy. It's what gets movies in the $1 billion category. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. Pablo says, I believe they're referring to the upcoming Avatar, the Last Airbender movie that recently got leaked online. Oh yeah, I did hear about that. Where they were like, yeah, we're not releasing this in theaters. But then they did like that definitely backfired, where they were like, we're not releasing this in theaters, but they had some like online screeners for press or whatever, and it leaked online, and now you could just watch it for free, pirated. Or it's like, yeah, you should have released this in theaters. Yeah, you know, a little bit little safer. You shouldn't be putting this, making like having a link distributed online for people to just like grab and share easily. Like, yeah, it's not a good idea. It's theatrical distribution. I don't know. Like, there's not a lot of like, I can't think of like a theatrically released movie that an initially theatrically released movie leaking online in its perfect quality. Like, I can't think of, maybe like Revenge of the Sith. I think famously, I think a Chinese cut of it or whatever got leaked online or something like that. Or possibly, I think maybe, oh yeah, I believe the rough cut of Rob Zombie's Halloween leaked online, for instance. So I think Rob Zombie in like as a response heavily re-edited the movie to make it, I guess, a little different from the version online. And it seemed like made it worse, a worse movie possibly. But yeah, there isn't like a lot of cases where like a movie is like leaked online that was just going to theaters. Like there's like, of course, camera recordings, but with like gambling ads overlaid on it. But it's like, what's the fucking watch a movie like that? The only movie I ever watched like that, admittedly, because I didn't want to bother going to the theater to see it, is the Black Christmas Blumhouse quote unquote remake. I watched it just a fan, like just a cam recording of it with like a gambling ad just overlaid on it. That's the only case where I did that though. All right, okay. I gotta call it a night, but I'm gonna find one last question. Let's see here. Let's find one last question. Oh, TJ says the original version of Zombies Halloween was not better. Okay, all right. I don't know. I think in his original version, at least, he used the John Carpenter Halloween theme for the intro. He had like an opening credit sequence. Or actually, no, he had an opening credit sequence for when Michael is like for like that awkward point where they play the Halloween theme in the movie. That was supposed to have like an opening credit sequence that just got cut out for whatever reason. So it's just the Halloween theme just randomly playing over young Michael going into his locker. All right. Let me see here. Let's find. Okay, so Brady Wells asks, what is a movie/show that everyone loves but you personally don't care for? For me, it's The Wizard of Oz. I mean, I love The Wizard of Oz. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the golden age of Hollywood. Oh man, I'm getting all congested. Oh man, that's a sign that I've been streaming for 3 hours now. Dear Lord, I guess it's a decent sign of a okay stream where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna keep going. But let me think. A movie I like. I mean, a movie other people like that I don't like. Admittedly, I didn't care for Zombieland. I got hyped up for me a lot, and then when I finally saw it, I was like, I feel like I saw better zombie comedies before. Yeah, I don't know. I guess Zombieland is what comes to mind, admittedly. People love Zombieland, and it has some, like, funny moments and stuff, but it mostly felt like, I don't know, like, it didn't have, like, a strong take on zombies. It kind of had, like, a more, I don't know, it kind of had, like, a shallow take on zombies, where a surface-level take that didn't feel like it was, from someone who was, like, really all that familiar with zombies, just familiar with the concept of zombies, but not really somebody who's, like, watched a lot of zombie movies to have, like, a take, like somebody like Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg with Shaun of the Dead. And also just, I don't know, like, it felt like it was much more focused on just the character comedy, which was pretty okay, but, like, it just didn't feel like there was enough conflict, and it felt like it really hinged on just, like, stuff like Bill Murray appears in the movie, but it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just like, haha. It's like a millennial style of humor, or it's like a meme style of humor, or it's like, wouldn't it be funny if they met Bill Murray? Where it's just like, it just didn't really do it for me. It was kind of disappointing. Never felt like revisiting Zombieland. And I really wanted to like it. It sounded like, I don't know, based on what people said about it back in the day. I did like the opening sequence, though. The opening sequence of Zombieland is pretty cool, though. I did like, it's a pretty, yeah, man, that opening sequence, man, I wish the rest of the movie was as good. All right, I'm gonna do my last shout-outs for the night, and then we're gonna call it a night. And here's a full list of my shout-out tier Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members. Their assistance is greatly appreciated, and it's helped the channel continue more than 15 years later. That's a lot of years. Thank you, folks, from the bottom of my heart, helping my dark influence continue to grow. Remember that links to all these folks are in the description. Support my Patreon to get bonus content, including early access to videos and exclusive weekly movie streams every Sunday. Here's what I'll be streaming next Sunday. Support me at patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula today to gain access to this and other upcoming movie streams. Or, you know, you can join the shout-out tier and I can share some love back with you, if you know what I mean. Alrighty, that is it for me tonight. I almost forgot to unmute my microphone. That is it for me tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. I had a good time chatting with you folks. Definitely one of the longer streams. I could just talk about MASH and Munsters all night, but I eventually gotta take it easy. If you like this stream, make sure to subscribe and click the like button. I really appreciate it. Make sure to click that bell so you don't miss out when future streams happen. Also, follow me on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Wolfula. Also, Blue Sky. I know Twitter technically is X now, but I'm just going to call it Twitter anyway. And I guess I'm also on Threads. So follow me wherever you're on social media. Definitely appreciate that as well. And speaking of social media, I guess the most direct way to interact with me is going to be my, where did I put that? Yeah, there it is going to be my Discord server, which I have open to new members. So if you want to join the Wolfulayer Discord, link in the description, and you can possibly chat with me. Maybe even voice chat with me. I have been periodically editing videos and graphics and stuff in my voice chat on the Wolfulayer, so if you want to join in the Wolfulayer, you got a week to do it, so you better fucking do it. I don't want anybody complaining that they missed out on this link. I keep it open for a limited time because I don't want a bunch of randos constantly joining in. I just want to make sure it's just the fans, just the hardcore fans joining the Wolfulayer Discord, so link in the description. And that's been it for me tonight. I've been your host, Dr. Wolfula, signing out. Bye-bye. Pleasant screams. Thanks again for watching my latest live stream. Why not give me a subscribe and follow me on social media too? And while you're still here, why not watch another one of my videos too?